Have you ever been baked and thought, damn bruh, I'm bored? Yeah, me neither, but here are my 5 favorite things to do that just mix perfectly with being high. Number 1. Munching. Obviously, this one's a no-brainer, but I gotta mention it. Who doesn't love buying a whole birthday cake and a 20-piece chicken nugget special, then proceeding to annihilate your whole daily calorie intake in about 20 minutes? And the crazy part is that I let my body digest that kilogram of munch for like 30 minutes and I'm right back to hungry again. There is the risk of overeating and getting a stomach ache, which can really ruin your high, but that's pretty easily avoidable with the OP skill called jugging water. Pretty much, just drink some water every 5 minutes of munching and you physically can't get to a point where your stomach gets cramped, cause it's too busy being full of that health potion called H2O. Number 2, going outside with the homies. Now this one has a high cooldown, meaning if you do it for multiple days in a row, it'll get progressively more boring. But I think the most important factors for if you find it fun or not is what people are you with and your stoner power level. Now, your stoner power level is determined by the strength level of these 3 attributes: tolerance, confidence, and not giving a fuck. With tolerance comes experience, and with experience comes confidence, and with confidence comes the power to remain calm in every situation. So basically what I'm saying is, if you're baked out of your mind and you see some sleep paralysis demon type shit, you gotta be high enough stoner power level so you can remain calm and just go jump that goofy looking fool. Overall, this is a high risk, high reward activity, as if something crazy happens, you'll probably remember that night for the rest of your life. But if nothing interesting occurs, at the end of it, you'll be regretting not staying home and having a munch session. Number 3. Playing video games. This one is something that mixes quite well with being baked, cause a lot of times after a few puffs of that sweet magic hash, you get real tired. But nobody wants to just go to sleep and waste their high, so now you got 2 options. Lay on your bed and watch the day fly by, or get on Discord with the boys and play some whatever really. You're baked, man. Every game feels like playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare for the first time. And bro, on God, I be playing Valorant and be having some cyborg eagle focus. Out here hitting clip after clip, feeling like I'm Shroud out here in these lobbies. All that being said, the best thing about gaming on the moon is that you literally never get tilted. Or I don't know if it's just me, but I can be on a 5-game losing streak, on the verge of getting D-ranked. All the homies are arguing in the voice chat, and I'm just like, hey yo, guys, chill. We got the next one. We just gotta play as a team, that's all. Shut up, dumbass, you're the one who keeps bottom fragging. Number 4. Watching comedy movies or stand-up comedy. This used to be one of my favorites, but man, I've watched every good comedy movie that's ever been produced. Honestly, I've watched most of the bad ones too. A new thing I've been recently discovering though is stand-up comedy. And to be fair, it's good, but it just don't have the same it factor that something like the OG Pineapple Express had back in the day. That could be just a nostalgia talking, but I remember watching it when I was like 14 and it was just a straight banger. Crazy part is, I wasn't even high. One thing though that stand-up comedy got that movies don't is that you don't have to focus on it to understand. Cause at some point, anything you watching just kinda becomes background noise to your thoughts. And it's good if you can shift in and out of focus while still understanding what's going on. Hey bro, you good? You kinda just been staring at the wall for an hour. Yeah man, I'm good. Just thinking, that's all. Quick tip before we move on to number 5. Adam Sandler. This man only makes bangers. He's just incapable of missing, especially if you get baked before watching him. Number 5. Listening to music and just vibing. This one can be a little controversial if you don't live alone, firstly because it is not something a non-baked human would consider as a normal pastime activity. But shit, when I'm suited and I suddenly remember a great song from my childhood or something and start vibing to the music video, I'll be feeling like I'm right there with my man Eminem rapping about being the real one out of all these fake shadies. This is also one of those rare activities where there is literally no downside to being as baked as humanly possible. What I mean is if you're just high, every lyric and instrumental connects with you. When you're at the level above high, you'll be feeling like you're right there with the artists. You go even one step further, and now there is officially a full-blown music festival going on right in front of your living room mirror, and you're at the main stage with thousands of fans cheering your name. Just remember to be mindful of how loud you're being, cause nobody wants to deal with an angry neighbor, especially when you're suited out of your mind. So, you've made it all the way here. Well, thanks to that, you get to discover the secret 6th activity on the list. Number 6. Getting more high. You might say this is obvious, and it just may be, but there's a certain sense of exploration and wonder in trying to reach new heights and go beyond the limits of the mortal man. Also, this isn't as easy as it might sound, because if you're a daily smoker, your built-up tolerance just won't allow it. That means you gotta take a tolerance break for at least 2 weeks to even think about doing this activity. But oh boy, once you meet the criteria for this one, it sure is one hell of a fun time. Unless you have a bad trip or something. But shit, just don't be a pussy and you'll be fine.
Socializing high. You ever tried holding a conversation while being blasted? It usually ends up being a mixture of trying to remember what the other guy said whilst analyzing the little bit of details that did manage to penetrate into your mind. Just recently, I had a guy come up to me at the store like, should I get the spicy ones or the cheesy ones? Hey bro, what you doing at Walmart? Who is this guy? Ah, yeah. We met at that party a month ago. Oh yeah, I should say something. Yeah, bro, just chilling. Just chilling at Walmart?
That's cool that you could just
what does
chill
that
like
even
that.
mean?
My mom just
Should
died
I say
yesterday,
something
and
to add
I
to
don't
it?
know where to go.
No, it's too long
I'm gonna
already.
be homeless soon.
Wait, what's this guy talking about?
So yeah, just been really sad because of that lately.
Yeah, man, I get you. But don't worry, cause there's always a bright side at the end of the tunnel, man.
Bright side at the end of the tunnel? My mom just died and I'm gonna be homeless now, so I don't know about that, man.
I'm sorry, bro. I didn't know.
But I just told you 10 seconds ago.
Okay, see you, bro. Hope things get better soon. What was that guy talking about? I don't know. I think I'll take the spicy Doritos. It's even worse when you blast it onto Mars with a spaceship type of high. Cause I swear, I be getting memory wiped every 5 seconds. Like, I don't want to be mean or anything, but please understand, if you don't get your point across in 5 seconds or less, I'ma be right back to thinking about that one meme on Reddit I saw 2 weeks ago. Bro, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I finally got it. The secret to making endless money is... And that's all you gotta do. Wait, sorry bro, I'm kinda faded than a hoe out here right now, so you said the secret to making endless dough was...
Yeah, man, what I was basically saying was that all you gotta do is start a business involving... So yeah, man, I can help you get started. I've already quit my job and moved to Dubai. You can join me.
Move to Dubai? What's this guy on about? I think I'm just gonna leave. So bro, what you think? You ready to get rich?
Nah, man, I don't think that's gonna work. Now, excuse me, I'm gonna go take a shit.
It's not all bad though. You gotta love it when you see a homie at the store who's also blasted to the moon. The Zaza makes you connected on a multiversal level like, hey bro, what you doing?
Nothing, chilling.
Funny you say that. I would have answered the exact same way if you asked me that question.
Sorry man, I'm faded than a hoe right now, and I just got hit with that memory wipe, so what you say again?
Oh shit, you high too?
Duh, I'm at the store, what else would I be?
For sure. You tryna hit up that candy section though?
Damn dog, you read my mind.
Unfortunately, social situations can be pretty tough if you're not an experienced blazer, especially if you're talking to people you want to leave a good impression on. But remember, if you're ever in irreversible trouble and you have no idea what to respond, just say, "That's crazy, bruh, but I'm way too faded right now."
I'm sorry, I don't think I quite understand.
I said that I'm faded than a hoe up in this bit.
No, Charles, you're fired.
Sometimes you do stuff that you shouldn't do, or at least you thought you shouldn't do, like mixing a mega pack of magic mushrooms with a ton of ultra fine Amsterdam Zaza. But I'll be damned if I was gonna give up on my one chance of pushing the limits of wonder and end up being some grumpy old man talking about what could have been.
When I was your age.
Shut up, Grandpa. When you was my age, you was a scarf knitting, romance watching, Toyota Prius driving, zero host getting pussy. Now shut up and give me my $20 birthday money, you fool. Anyway, so it begins with me and my brother in Amsterdam, yet again. It's our last day there and we're looking to end this trip off with a bang. We stumbled into one of those magic stores that sold all of these crazy substances. Literally, shelves stocked with little vials of liquid that had specific effects comparable to every drug you can think of. But we had our eyes set on something a little more natural.
A little more psychedelic.
A mega pack of Space Hawaiians. We grabbed those shrooms and brought them up to the counter, feeling like some kids at a toy store buying their first Beyblades. So, how much should we, take? All of it? What's the trip like? Cool. Anything else we should know? Don't be a pussy, I guess. Can we mix this with the Zaza? No, do not mix it with the Zaza. Okay. Jeez, can't be that bad. Okay. Well, if you want to end up like that guy, be my guest. But no, you were warned. So anyway, we got the shrooms and left the store. But after what that guy said, I was low-key scared of these things. And on our way to the hotel, I started Googling like a machine. Reading every forum post about mixing shrooms and weed. And well, I'd say about 80% said not to do it. But man, the other 20% were hyping it up like crazy. Saying that it was the coolest experience they've ever had. And how you become one with the universe or some shit. We got to the hotel and instantly downed those space Hawaiians. And started waiting for it to kick. Hey, is it hitting it? Nah, not yet. You feel anything? Nah, still nothing. Then bang! Bruh, I'm feeling it. Yeah, boy. We started doing the usual mushroom things, like looking at stuff, thinking about stuff, talking about stuff. But after a while, we got the genius idea to go to the red light district. If you don't know what that is, well, it's pretty much a street full of sex workers lined up trying to get you to come pay for that sloppy toppy 5,000. We went outside and brought our massive joint with us and started walking to where the hoes at, literally, and start puffing that hash. Mind that we are already completely shroomed up, so I'm a little worried about what this gonna do to us. It's either gonna be cool as fuck or not so cool. So by the time we arrived at our destination, we had smoked that spliff to non-existence, and man, I was high. I was so high that I thought I was in a fucking cartoon. Like actually, the world didn't look how it usually looked. I felt like me and my brother were pretty much aliens walking among these local people trying to fit in. The building seemed tilted and people's faces were blurry to me. But thankfully that didn't freak me out because I was just so amazed of how goddamn soinked I was. At some point I started really feeling my brain. Like not just a piece of meat in my skull, but the neurons that were constantly firing off. Meaning if I thought about moving my hand, I could feel my brain sending out the signal and how the electric pulse traveled through my body into my hand. So basically what I'm saying is, I felt like I was actually controlling this giant piece of meat that is my body like a goddamn mech suit. Anyway, what made this whole experience so trippy was the things we saw. The sex workers in the district were sitting or standing right behind these big windows and always had a red light to signal that they're here for business. But they seemed more like dolls than humans. They all looked the same. Giant fake lips, face painted with tons of makeup, and these skimpy ass dresses. Not gonna lie bro, it was low key freaking us out. Cause every time you walked past one of them, they looked at you, staring with those dull eyes, waiting for you to come closer so they can suck out your soul. Nah, they don't actually do that, but you know, that's the type of stuff you might believe if you mix cannabis with shrooms. We ended up walking around for like 1.5 hours until we got tired and went back to the hotel. But bro, those 1.5 hours, I swear, I was not on planet Earth. That mixture must have teleported me to the amazing world of Gumball universe or some shit, cause no way the things I felt and saw were of this world. But overall, we didn't freak out or have a bad trip or anything, so I'd rate this trip a 10 out of 10. Cause we had no issues really. After getting back to the hotel, we had the usual munchies and sleepiness. So really, that kush helped us out. Cause my experience with shrooms until this point was they don't let you sleep. But thanks to that fine natural grass, I slept like a baby. Do you remember your first time smoking the Zaza? I bet you used either some type of makeshift Mountain Dew can where you inhaled more green paint than anything, or you rolled yourself an abomination of a spliff where half the stuff got stuck in the filter whilst you were standing there sucking on it like... Bro, why this shit ain't working? Bro, of course it ain't working. Look at the damn crutch. You were supposed to roll a filter, not a leak-proof titanium pipe. Fool. Yet, the more you blaze, the better your tools and skills to do so improve. But everybody starts off at Level 1. First timer. This is the level where you'll be holding your butts like Elon Musk. Only you're not Elon Musk and your homies will clown the hell out of you for holding the spit like it was a diamond or something. Also, at this point, your understanding of rolling blunts is that you put the stuff in the middle and just kind of roll it up like a cone. It doesn't actually work like that. And if you were to hit any type of can or makeshift bomb even after the slightest inhale, you'll be on the floor coughing your lungs out of your throat like.
So I just inhale from this opening? Yeah, man.
You bastard, you licked it, didn't you? But no worries, after a while of being clowned on, you'll eventually learn enough to get to Level 2.
Yeah, bro, I can roll it no problem.
Even though you're still only a beginner, this is where your confidence is at its highest, cause you've rolled a couple splits and instead of them being completely unusable, the homies usually are like, okay, whatever, it'll do. This is also the stage where you'll probably green out for the first time, cause you overestimate your tolerance a lot. Thinking that just cause you've blazed up 3 times in the past 30 days, you're ready to go over to the homie's house and start hitting something called the gravity bug?
Whatever though, how much higher can you even get, right?
Also, at this stage, you just might have a makeshift aluminium can pipe thing at your place, but buying an actual is out of the question, cause you'd rather cough till you're on the floor in tears than pay $20 for something that isn't even necessary. Well, wait a month or so and you'll be on Level 3.
Schmack the diddly do.
At this point, you've decided that the negative health implications of inhaling paint and plastic into your lungs is worth fixing with $23. And now that you have your own piece, your tolerance has gotten to the point where you can handle gravity sessions pretty well. There's really not much to say at this level, except you're the average smoker who can roll a quality spliff in a couple minutes, and you usually never ruin the group's vibe because you got too high. Well, that's until you get to Level 4. What's a dab, bro? You've mastered the powers of a gravity bomb, but one day your friend invites you over to his place, thinking it's gonna be an average day of blazing and playing Warzone. But then he pulls out something that looks a lot like a vape, only it's not a vape, it's the key to the other side. You hit the Penjamin for the first time, and you find yourself completely obliterated. So much so that you think to yourself,
never again will I hit the Penjamin, for the power is too much for a mere mortal to handle.
Until you realize that normal bud just don't get you as high as you would want to get. So you get your own pen and eventually you'll be on Level 5, the double Penjamin. Now at this point you've thrown your bong in a box somewhere and you use something that looks straight out of a Rick and Morty episode, a dab station. But to be honest, you're starting to miss the good old days of getting faded by just sharing a spliff with the homies. Cause at this point, unless you're hitting ridiculous blinkers with the double Penjamin, man, you barely feel high. So you decide it's time to take a tolerance break and ascend into Level 6. Avatar, the master of all 4 elements. You've realized that chasing the next knockout high isn't really what blazing is about, and you now just smoke up at appropriate times with the appropriate tools. So if you're just trying to chill and play video games, you might just hit a quick rip from the bong. Or if you're going to the store, you'd roll a nice spliff. And if you're going to, let's say, an amusement park with your friends, well, that's when you might consider busting out the double Penjamin and getting faded than a hoe.
This video is for comedic purposes only and does not promote illegal drug use.
I think we've all bought from The Plug at least once, but for all my homies who live in countries or states where the Zaza still remains forbidden, you have most likely encountered many of them. And well, you know that no two are ever the same. One day you'll meet up with the most savage, straight out of jail, carrying a bazooka in his back pocket looking mofo, and then 1 week later hit up your boy Jimmy the Plug God, and he'll have you pulling up to his nice suburban household like,
yeah, man, so how's it going? Yeah, good? Okay, here's the kush. Okay, thanks. Goodbye.
Anyway, here are the 5 types of plugs you'll most likely encounter on your journey to get the magic spice. Number 1. The plug who thinks he's an entrepreneur. This is the guy who'll be straight marketing and promoting his illegal business like he was some dropshipping guru. Like, bro, I don't know if it's a good idea to be flexing your fat stacks on your personal IG and writing captions like, 5-0 don't know what I'm on, can't stop a young king from thriving, hashtag drug money, hashtag trap king. I know a couple of these plugs, and the one thing they always have in common is the inherent and uncontrollable desire to flex on anything and anyone. Just a couple weeks ago, I bought from one of these guys, and in the span of the 3-minute long transaction we had, I learned the following things. Firstly, how much money he made this week. Secondly, that he is moving on to more profitable substances. And thirdly, on how he plans to launder his fat stacks.
Like bro, aren't dealers supposed to be more discreet? Talking about being the local Pablo Escobar? Like pretty sure Pablo Escobar wasn't trapping $20 worth of kush in a 2002 Honda Civic, my man. Number 2. The plug that's only dealing to fund his party lifestyle. This is the guy that went to every single party in high school and just wasn't quite ready to move on. So now he is a part-time construction worker, full-time plug. These guys are some of the chillest dealers there are because they don't really take their job too serious. The biggest downside to buying from these types of plugs is that they are really unreliable. So just cause they told you, yeah, I got the stuff, write me again in 4 hours, then I'm free, doesn't mean that you'll be getting gas anytime soon. Cause when you do write him again in 4 hours, there's about a 80% chance they'll be already drunk and high at some local club sending Snapchat stories like, Number 3. That tries his hardest to act gangsta plug. This is the type of dude that'll have you pulling up to the most ridiculous places to secure the kush. Like why the hell are we meeting at the abandoned sawmill at midnight and you're telling me, come alone? Like bro, this isn't some Jackie Chan movie where we're doing some multi-million-dollar arms deal. I just wanna buy a eighth, bro. But shit, got me thinking, what if I do go all Jackie Chan on him? Next thing I know, I got 10 thugs popping out of the sawdust with AR-15s pointed at my head. All because he gave me 0.2 grams less, and I dared to test his gangster. Nah, but for real, these dudes are pretty reliable and usually sell quality stuff. But for some reason, they're always on about the crimes they've committed. Like bro, you're really flexing the fact that you were arrested last night and will be serving 2 years minimum. My man, that sounds awful. Are you okay, bro? Need someone to watch the kids or something? Number 4. The why are you trapping, bro? This guy has it all. His parents are wealthy, he lives in a nice house, he gets to drive his dad's Rolls Royce, yet for some reason he has decided it is in his best interest to start selling kush. Like, no complaints from me, bro. I love hopping in the back of this $200,000 car just to buy $20 worth of Zaza. But couldn't you just drive like some premium Uber or something? You'd probably make more money, plus you know, it's legal. Nah, but for real, why they actually trap is cause they just wanna get hoes and be respected as a true gangsta. Even though I can never take them seriously. Like bro, why you acting so thug? You do know if you ever short me, I'm just gonna tell your dad and he'll send you to boarding school, right? Number 5. The middle school trapper. Now this is the dude that only started trapping to fund the copious amounts of THC he smokes on a daily basis. And to be honest, I kinda respect the hustle. I mean, it is kinda funny buying from these dudes though, hitting them up like, then you pull up and they're always like at least 200 feet away from where they actually live because they don't want to get caught by their mama. But because these dudes usually smoke their own product, they always gotta comment about what you're getting.
Stuff hits different, bro. It's more of a body high.
Or,
man, this'll get you real messed up.
Or even sometimes,
yeah, man, I put in a little more because this isn't as good as the last stuff.
So yeah, basically what I'm saying is that these guys are the most trustworthy plugs there are, so you don't ever need to be worried about being scammed. Only downside is that these plugs are very temporary, meaning they usually quit trapping in about 3 to 6 months. Probably cause they mama beat him or something.
Timmy, what is this? That's nothing, mama. You ain't gotta worry about that.
I know what it is. It's from the devil. Get over here, Timmy.
No, mama. Don't. Leave me alone.
The wake and bake is a legendary art form created by humans of the highest intellect. The act of waking from one slumber and immediately entering into Yodi land is a sacred practice known only to the chillest of creatures. There has been a lot of controversy in the meaning of wake and bake. Some say it can only truly be called the holy practice if one smokes up immediately after awakening from dreamland. Others, including myself, believe it is not necessary to sleep next to your crusty last cleaned in 2007 smelling like a rotting can of tuna ass piece of glass. Cause I don't know about you, but personally I like to start my mornings off with something nice, like a coffee or some bacon and eggs. Not the taste of water in my mouth whilst coughing my lungs out.
I believe a true connoisseur won't partake in such barbaric activities and will at least put some pants on before smoking that doozy. Now, if you ever participated in the wake and bake, you will know that it hits differently than, let's say, an evening bake, but only if you got the whole day free, cause the Zaza will amplify your excitement for the coming day, or until you eat breakfast and pass out on your bed. Back in summer, I used to bake after the wake quite a bit. It was always really nice to just go outside to the warm sun while smoking that morning pack. And bro, don't get me started on those breakfast munchies. I'm usually the guy to only drink coffee or something for breakfast, but that early morning grass gets me on that Nicotine avocado pack, I swear.
Bro, how much are you going to eat?
Everything. And after a delightful breakfast like that, how can you be anything but energized? Nah, in reality, after destroying 2,000 calories of Twinkies, you're probably gonna pass out in 20 minutes. But that's why after the first couple times, I created the 3 golden rules of a productive wake and bake. Number 1. Don't have a demonic ritual that involves you sacrificing 15 hot pockets in your stomach. But you just said that the breakfast munchies are nice. Yeah, they are, but you have to treat the massive breakfast kind of like drinking alcohol. So you gotta understand the sacrifice you are making by having that giant breakfast. You are effectively done for the day, as you will most likely fall right back to sleep after, and then when you do wake up from your 3-hour morning nap, you'll feel all hazy and bad, cause you just wasted your whole day. Lazy piece of shit. So if you wanna avoid that, don't wake and munch. Number 2. Make a plan the night before. Have goals set for the day. Basic stuff like buy groceries, maybe work out, hang with some friends, stuff like that. Cause when you have a plan the night before, you are much less likely to just sleep the whole day and then at night feel like a lazy fat tub of lard. But also keep in mind, you are supposed to have fun on a wake and bake, so don't make the objectives too hard cause you're probably just not gonna do them then. Some of my favorite wake and bake activities include going to the gym, playing a team sport, playing a story game, bathing in the sun, going to the store, hanging out with the homies, etc. Anyway, time for the last rule, which is number 3. Don't get obliterated on the wake and bake. So this one is kinda obvious, but important nonetheless. It might seem like a great idea to get soinked up to pounds on your first hit, but in reality, all that will do is spoil the plans you set the night before. Cause no matter how productive of a smoker you are, when you're faded to the max, there is about a 95% chance you'll tell yourself, ugh, whatever, I'll do it tomorrow. Which once evening rolls around, will hit you with that existential depression. And the only way to escape from that is with the purest form of productivity. We've all had it, we all know it. 2 a.m. motivation.
The drugs, the cigarettes, that dumb bitch. It all starts fucking today, alright? No more fucking excuses. This is the year of the fucking soldier.
And I mean, even though who doesn't love a bit of midnight motivation, it won't get you anywhere in the long term, and really is usually just a sign of doing nothing useful during the day. But hey, if you follow these 3 golden rules, I'm sure your future wake and bakes will be much more productive and fun. At least I hope so. I think we can all agree that the magic broccoli can make you more creative. However, how does that creativity translate outside the realm of Yodi land is a whole different question. Now, me being the certified weed scientist, doctor, officer, and more, I've had a lot of sometimes stupid, sometimes brilliant ideas, well, bugging off the Zaza. Like this one time when me and my brother were just enjoying a beautiful summer day outside on the terrace, faded AF, when by the gods I was struck with an idea so brilliant and great, I just couldn't stop until it came to fruition. And what was this idea? Well, it went something like this. Oh my. Hey bro, I just got this great idea that I think we should do right now. Okay, what is it? I got 2 words for you. Virtual reality. And what transpired after this is one of the most sad, stressful, and heartbreaking experiences of my high career. Although my brother was hesitant at first, after I explained why virtual reality will quite literally change our lives forever, he agreed to it. The only problem now was we were broke. Well, not completely, but these damn VR headsets cost anywhere from $400 to $1,000 new. And ain't no way we were about to drop a bag like that on some VR porn. Games, I mean VR games. That's what I was saying. So we did what any other broke 20-year-old with a materialistic dream would do.
we went on Facebook Marketplace, where after a while of searching, we found a Oculus Rift S being sold for $150, which is a great deal. I mean, it cost $400 new, plus it was only 20 miles away, so we could be there in like 20 minutes. So obviously, we went ahead and bought it, without really asking any questions nor looking through the description of the post, which mentioned a cat nibbling on the cord, but hey, what does that have to do with anything? It was f***ing broken, okay, that's what it had to do with it. But not in a won't even turn on way of broken. It was like work for 20 minutes and then doesn't broken. Plus, it didn't even use a normal HDMI cable, so we had to buy a damn $50 adapter for it as well, that we haven't used ever since this incident with VR. After like 2 days of screwing around with the settings and trying to fix the nibbled on cable, we got it to work for the record-breaking time of 1 hour. Yes, 1 hour of virtual reality. But, you know, we spent like 10 hours getting it all set up and fixing the damn errors. Plus we dropped $200 on the supplies, so, yeah. And, I think it's time I confess my sins right here on the channel. After a week of having the VR headset, we sold it. For a profit. To an unexpected kid who probably was saving up money for months to get it. Sorry. But it's a dog-eat-dog world, and I put in the description the same damn thing. A cat nibbled on the wire. So yeah, I think the kid learned a valuable lesson worth more than the $200 he gave me for the broken headset. I mean, the VR headset. But it's not all bad, cause I've had some pretty banger ideas while high as well. Like this one time when I was inhaling that broccoli and stumbled upon these high stickman channels that were popping up, and I thought to myself, wait, hold up, I'm high. I know how to use Microsoft Paint. I can do this. And look, it was one of those ideas that you have while high, but it was actually a good idea. Very unlike this one time when me and a couple homies were hotboxing in the car when I came up with the genius plan to go sledding in the middle of winter whilst completely blasted, whilst only having on a hoodie and whilst only having our damn legs for transportation cause the car was just a stationary hotbox machine. So yeah, at the time I don't know what I was thinking. I remember just focusing on the awesome part, you know, the whole sledding down the mountain thing, but didn't take into account how cold it was, how much we needed to walk to get up the mountain, how I only had a f***ing hoodie on, plus I forgot about my crippling paranoia about feeling cold. Like literally, my dumbass brain just sometimes flips on me like, hey, psst. Yeah. So you're having fun? Feeling good? You know, yeah, it's a beautiful day, you know, I'm having a good time. Yeah, it is. But you're freezing cold, aren't you? No, what? I'm not. Well, now you are. F*** you. Talk to you in your next high. Peace. So yeah, I don't know what I was thinking with that sledding plan. I was just really hyped about it for no apparent reason, but I think that's just like, it makes everything seem awesome. Another weird obsession I seem to have when I'm faded is real Japanese samurai swords. I don't know why, but there's just something about knowing that the sword you are holding was once used for actual combat by a true samurai. But hey, that just might be me. Blazing with people is a lot different than blazing alone. Because whereas being alone, you can just let your mind drift to wherever, if you're with others, you have to, well, at least you should, understand the general vibe and direction of the convos and interactions. Unfortunately, however much you might try to be unbiased, you will discover that there are certain people you will want to smoke with again and will always be invited to the sesh. But then there are also dudes who, after you get faded with once, will leave you contemplating if you ever want to consume that za in a social setting again. Or at least with new people, cause you never know if the new guy will be the dude who gets way too intense about everything. Nobody likes this dude, and for a reason. When mofos is faded, they just wanna chill and be happy, but this gremlin finds it necessary to express his deepest resentment or strongest belief in his personal opinions. The group could be talking about some chill like the fragrance of the ocean or the beauty of the sun, and this dude will start spitting out shit like, man, what a day to get lit. No clouds, sunlight on the skin, it's warm, just great. Yeah, man, you're right. What a time to be alive.
You do know about global warming, right? The day we are having is just a byproduct of the disaster that is about to overtake our planet.
Yeah, I know, but shit, I ain't worrying about all that right now. I'm just enjoying the moment, you know?
Well, you should be. Do you know that people like you are the reason why this is all happening? People who don't care and just do whatever they please.
Hey man, chill. I recycle. Plus, I don't even be driving that much, man. I just be walking around.
Whatever, you do you. Just know you're a part of the problem, not the solution. Like I am. I'm like a part of the solution. I'm really cool.
Like, screw you, man. Learn to read the room, Mr. I think like this and therefore you must too. But switching things up, the next guy on the list is someone you definitely want in the sesh. The dude who knows a bunch of random but interesting stuff. Bro, I always enjoy it when a dude like this is in the sesh. Instead of pushing some agenda like the previous guy, he always just adds to the convo in a meaningful and interesting way. Like mofos could be talking about some History Channel shit, and this dude would be knowing all the facts and details. He pretty much like the sesh version of Google, but instead of giving you long paragraphs, he hits you with stuff like, guys, even though it's called World War II, it was only fought in Europe. So why it ain't called Europe War II? What? Nah, but real, I could make a whole video on the stuff I've heard from dudes like this. But the next guy is more of a hit or miss. The dude who rarely smokes. Now, this man either folds under the pressure of the za and just sits quietly observing everybody like an owl, or instead he becomes one with the za and becomes a conduit of it, allowing words to flow from the holy plant itself. Plus, I swear, laughter is contagious, and if a dude like this is feeling comfortable, he always 100% of the time finds everything hilarious, and that good vibe rubs off on everybody, boosting everyone's giggles by a good 25%. But as I said, he kind of a hit or miss, so if he doesn't allow the za to flow through his veins, he'll just sit there quietly giggling by himself like Gollum or something. Yet, you shouldn't hold it against him, cause I think we've all been there, overwhelmed by the power of the green magic. But this next guy is the exact opposite and the universally hated dude at the sesh. The fool who hogs the spliff. No one likes a greedy spliff hogger, especially if he himself did not bring any to the sesh and is just riding on the other's hard-earned zaza. The excuse this dog always has is,
My tolerance is much higher than all yours, so in reality, we're all getting the same amount.
and I mean, yeah, technically, but still, that's on you. If you haven't been managing your tolerance and been abusing the za to the point you need to smoke the whole spliff of premium backwood to feel something, then you better bring extra stuff to the sesh. And if you can't afford it, well, start a GoFundMe or something, you goddamn parasite. Shit's pissing me off just thinking about it. But this next guy definitely won't piss you off. In fact, when this dude is rumored to be at the sesh, it's always a must-go. I'm talking, of course, about the plug. Now, you might be wondering, why is this guy so great? Why is it a must-go when he is at the sesh? Well, the answer to that is, he is the plug, and therefore has a shitload of zaza, and the best part being, it's usually all free. Bro, I've smoked with the plug many times, and they always bust out that exotic stuff for everybody to enjoy. And honestly, that's just a part of it, because this guy knows a lot about the magic green plant, and I swear, the best thing to talk about when high is zaza, how it's grown, the differences in strains, the differences in effects. It all becomes 200% more interesting when you blazed. And on top of all that, you know for 100% sure that this dude will never freak out nor ruin the group's vibe because he got too high. Shit, my man might freak out for not being high enough. Mushrooms. They are famous for their mindset changing properties, but to me, they have always just been a funny fungus that makes you see stuff. Until the day me and my brother decided to do something this bearded guy called the heroic dose. And well, I can now confidently say that Mario is one crazy ass motherfucker. The journey began in Amsterdam, like always, where we were going to hopefully enjoy our time in DEF CON 1, a festival so big these dudes made their own currency and segregated the population like the freaking pyramid system. Anyway, because this rager was 4 days long and we thought it would be cool to do something besides grass and drank for the whole time, we paddled our butts to a smart shop where, well, you guessed it, they sold mushrooms. But this time it was different. You see, a year ago, me and my brother did them for the first time, and because of that, we're extra cautious about the size of the portion, which led to us taking too little to truly call it a trip. We did end up mixing that shit with grass though, and it freaking blew our minds. That story is on the top right corner right now. But anyway, this time we were looking for the true experience, the type of shit that will have you questioning your very fabric of existence, cause well,
we just built different like that. So as we were googling the right amount 200-pound behemoth should take to get the full experience, we stumbled upon this video of this YouTube scientist talking about what he called the heroic dose. After dividing the 10 with a 5 and multiplying that with a 69, we came to the scientific conclusion, we gotta eat a shit ton of mushrooms. And for that, we had to buy a ton. So we ended up purchasing 1 mega pack of truffles each, which is already considered a lot, but we also bought 1 extra that we were going to split to make it a ultra trip. Now, unfortunately, these truffles weren't allowed in the premises of DEF CON 1, so we did the only logical thing and hid them in the woods surrounding the festival area, which is important because this would end up making our journey 10 times more difficult. Anyway, 2 days went by of just chilling when we finally felt comfortable enough in our accommodation to decide, let's go get those goddamn mushrooms. And with that, we started our 10-mile hike to secure them things. To be fair, it was our own stupidity that led us to walking 10 miles instead of 1 because, well, you know, we Gen Z at the end of the day and we don't know how to read no damn map. But regardless, we powered through with only our clothes, DEF CON wristband, and our trustworthy flip-flops. And thankfully, no one had stolen our hidden stash, so now like a pair of wild animals, we demolished those shrooms looking like Mike Tyson on Impulsive for the next 3 minutes. Once we got that done, we walked back to the festival with the intention of going back to our tent. But unfortunately, having walked 10 miles in flip-flops in the scorching sun, once we saw 2 hammocks under the shade of a tree, we folded like a Nintendo DS and laid down and waited for what was to come. And at about the 30-minute mark, I felt the first bit of kick, indicated by the prolonged interest in this random guy who walked past us with red shades and a Swiss flag worn like a cape. I sat on that hammock wondering, where is that guy going to? What's like his story? Is he a good guy or is he a bad guy? If he's a bad guy and he's about to do something villainous, I could have stopped him. Will this haunt me forever? Oh wait, I'm tripping. Snap out of it, Mario. And that was the start of our heroic journey. We then proceeded to bounce back and forth questioning, what you feeling, bro? Until finally, ResX found the strength to stand up from that hammock with the bones surrounded by jelly that were our legs. Which also gave me the power to stand up and start wandering around the magical place that was DEF CON. The more we walked, the more trippy shit got. We truly felt like we were in some type of medieval town from the fact that there were no buildings, only shacks, and the people there were all either drunk, high, or both. Some of the stages were also kinda scary because you see DEF CON is a hardstyle festival, and in hardstyle there are many subgenres, ranging anywhere from remixes of popular songs to sentences like "Dance with the Devil" or "Long live the Antichrist," followed by a beat drop so strong the common man would mistake what he hears as noise, not music. Anyway, as you can imagine, some of the more hardcore styles were also accompanied with more hardcore people and more hardcore stages, which, well, when you're bugging off what we were, it got a bit intense. And it was truly a test of our characters, cause anybody can be a tough guy when they're drunk, but when you're at your most vulnerable and every thought is significant and uncontrollable, it's pretty hard keeping your cool. But in that moment, I was very thankful for my brother because although we are both Chads in our own right, that day the power of a single Chad was not enough and we had to really pull our power together to actually enjoy the trip and not bug out. Once we hit the 1.5 hour mark though, we randomly stumbled upon our friend who was there with us at DEF CON, and it was a very nice mid-quest point. We shared our experiences, explained that we are currently on another plane of existence, had some laughs, oh, and we also showed him our disgusting feet that we acquired from walking 10 miles in flip-flops, which he one-upped us by showing his messed up right eye which he got from getting dust on it or something. After that, we proceeded to the final boss, our tent, which might not seem all that scary, but at this point we had ascended to a place we had never even thought to exist. A place of pure mystery, questioning yourself and everything you know. The peak. Unfortunately, I can't really talk about most of the stuff we discussed because it was some real deep shit. But I will say it was one of the toughest experiences I've had. It was scorching hot, we were 1,000 miles from home, and we were just not in the correct dimension, bro. Coupled with the fact the tent was damn orange and illuminated everything to look like Donald Trump's tan. And bro, the moving patterns, they were endless. But at the end of it, we walked away with a lot of knowledge about ourselves and broke barriers in our minds we didn't know were were there. So this heroic dose, just like the name suggests, is only for people who are courageous and strong enough to withstand it. Because this was no easy smoke grass and play Xbox trip, this was a full-on journey. I'd even go as far to say this was, or at least felt like a main storyline quest in our lives, which after completion, we really did feel accomplished that we endured.
You know, back in the day, if you wanted to get high discreetly, sorry bro, there was no way. I mean, you got the J, which stanks up everything. You got the bong, which although doesn't stank as much, where you gonna hide it? Imagine trying to sneak by your parents on some... What you doing dropping shit at a time like this, boy? Downstairs, I came down, I wanted a glass of water, yeah. Boy, you must be neurologically disabled if you think that'll excuse you from breaking some dusty-ass dollar store piece and spilling bong water all over my goddamn living room. No, it's... Here, take a smack of this shit. It'll get you proper, boy. Well, that sounds like a pretty fun... Anyway, point is, you're not gonna be hiding that shit for long. Only real option you had was the pipe. But bro, at that point, you sacrificing everything you got for one high. Like, I swear, the pipe is the last way anybody in their right mind wants to get faded. Every time I hit it, it's like my lungs and throat revert back to factory settings. Like I ain't never inhaled anything besides O2 before. Basically, by smacking the pipe, you're hurting your lungs and throat to the point it kind of fucks up the first 30 minutes of your high. And that's exactly why when the first Penjamin was invented by the scientists at Yodiland, it changed the game, bruh. Never before could you get obliterated on the go regardless of where you were or what you were doing. And thanks to that, getting high has become so damn easy, you got motherfuckers making obliteration their normal state. Never before could someone do anything even remotely sus and you could just assume they were fucking high. My man had sunglasses on for no reason, faded. Dude was staring somewhere for a bit too long, obliterated. Dude went to White Castle for a culinary experience. Well, that motherfucker's just weird. Goddamn cafeteria food. And you can forget about gas stations and fast food places. I mean, at this point, it's like damn near mandatory to be blasted on the job. And I got nothing against that, just since 90% of the time I find myself at 7-Eleven, I'm fried too, and the motherfucker that's supposed to be helping me is trying to scan my items with his damn iPhone. Nah, but for real, the pace that these fried motherfuckers work at is fine when your brain is running at the same low frequency, but if you're in a rush, it'll take damn near every ounce of mental strength you got to stop yourself from forcing a damn self-checkout.
Would you like a bag with that, sir?
Fuck no, here's the money, just give me my shit. But don't get me wrong, I got nothing against a good old Penjamin. There really ain't a better on-the-go, fast and easy way to get faded. Unfortunately, I didn't go to college and kinda cheated my way through high school too, so the 15 or so brain cells I was able to develop that keep me from losing and forgetting shit turned into, well, basically zero. And for that reason, I've already lost 2 of them. One of them slipped out my pocket while I was at the movies, and I'm pretty sure some teenagers stole it, cause after the film, when I was looking for it with my flashlight and shit, these motherfuckers were giggling in the back, looking at me like I was a damn circus clown. Coupled with the fact I was fried as fuck, I was fighting my tears. Dog. I just got robbed by some damn teens and I can't even do shit cause it was illegal to even bring it in there. Second one I lost in a very similar manner. As I was getting out my Uber going back home, my sweatpants did me dirty and flinged that fucker out as I was standing up. Took me 2 minutes to realize, and when I did, my Uber driver was probably already hitting that shit cause when I called him back to ask for it, he said,
Let me check. It seems that you only left me a $1 tip. Sorry, I couldn't find it.
And that one hurt the most because that was the first pen I ever had and the one I used for my first Penjamin adventure, which my first time was, well, by far the highest I have ever been in my life. I'm talking freaky, I'm talking third person. Shit, it was the first time in years I truly greened the thaw out. For you see, normal weed or bud is just that, normal. So the strength of it is confined in the realms of reality, unless you know it, it's moon rock. Anyway, the biggest difference between smacking a pen versus, let's say, a J is that the pen doesn't have normal bud in it. It has concentrate, which if you're unaware like I was, is about 10 to 20 times stronger than bud. Knowing that, the best way to get faded off the pen is by just taking small rips to avoid getting sent into the goddamn shadow realm. For example, the YouTuber Damien Luck 925 is very well known for taking multiple blinkers, which is the biggest hit you can take, outside
outside in social situations, most notably in random classrooms, like it's nothing. So me being at my USA Airbnb alone in the confines of my living room, thought to myself, okay, so it looks like the basic hit I should do at least is one blinker, but probably more. Yet what was waiting for me on the other side of Blinker City was something I was not prepared for. Something unholy. The voices. I'll never forget the horrible things they were whispering. They made me almost delete my YouTube channel. Anyway, it started with me ordering a 1-gram pen off of Weed Amazon, and it arrived the very next day in a beat-up Cadillac with a delivery man who, from the looks of it, tests out every product he delivers just, to make sure the quality is there. Yo, bro, you're here for the weed, right? You got the cash? Yeah, I ordered through your website, though. It should be paid for already. Yeah, I forgot I take online orders now, too. Anyway, here's the stuff, bro. I trust you. Hey, thanks, bro. Have a good one. You too, man. Hello, Mr. Bro. We got a delivery for you from Weed Amazon that should be arriving in an hour or so. Will you be home then? Wait, didn't I just...
I'm a gorilla in a fucking scoop. Gonna pull up to the zoo.
Oh, I better get out of here. So I went back to the crib, Penjamin in hand, and prepared myself to get faded. And obviously, I went for a blinker my very first hit. But since I had never smacked a pen before, I inhaled it for about 4 seconds and stopped because it was so light on my throat, I thought it wasn't working, but it actually was. And from that 4-second puff, I was already quite bamboozled, but since I have this weird rule of every time I get new stuff, I break it in by doing a massive hit, I thought, well fuck, I was supposed to do a blinker, and went for it again. I inhaled and inhaled for a good 8 to 10 seconds, but the thing just wouldn't fucking blink. It got to the point where there was tears coming from my eyes and my throat was begging me to stop, and it ended up like... I had made a grave mistake. I was so fucking high, I felt my soul leave my body. I was so high, I forgot I was even high. But it was just the beginning, cause over the next 10 minutes, I just kept on getting more faded, and the demons in my head kept on getting louder and louder. But if you know me, I kinda refused to green out, so I just kept on doing random shit like reading the ingredients list off my bag of M&Ms, reading the comments on my videos.
Change it for glow. Do things has changed for real. Imagine copying another YouTuber.
Kill yourself. Was not doing good. I was keeping a strong facade, but inside there was a war going on. I was feeling like Naruto with the 9 tails, only instead of an all-powerful destructive force talking to me, I was just really fucking high. Anyway, so yeah, I was grading out, which hadn't happened to me in years, and I concluded that because the voice of reason was completely being outspoken by the voice of tweaking. The good news is though, the hype from the Penjamin doesn't last too long, and in about 1 to 2 hours, I had started coming down, but at that point, I was already crawled up in my bed, scrolling endlessly on my phone, until I finally reached a state where I felt good enough to come out of emergency mode and order some food and ate myself into a food coma. So I learned, well, firstly, that motherfucker Fulcrum is actually insane, or his tolerance is just something else, bro, and that the Penjamin is best enjoyed in puffs of 3 to 5 seconds and not blinkers.
The plug, a holy being that will always be there for you, especially when you don't need him, and also occasionally when you do. And because I don't live in the fancy America, where all the big vloggers and TikTokers are, I still rely on the plug for my Zaza. But after years of buying from different plugs, I always wondered how much money do these guys actually make, and what are the requirements to be successful in the profession? Well, finally, after the introduction of a new, scientifically enhanced type of grass, HHC, I kinda got the answer to these questions, and I'ma be honest with you, it ain't what I expected. As I said before, it all started with the introduction of the so-called new and improved ZA, HHC. And because it was new and regulations had not been set, even in my Stone Age country where an 18-year-old can buy a liter of vodka and drink himself to death, or just get hammered and get the sudden urge to call out the 6'5" undefeated heavyweight MMA fighter at the club because, well, when he sees red, bodies start dropping. Anyway, since this was legal and I am a law-abiding citizen who wouldn't even dare to jaywalk, I thought to myself,
this is the perfect moment to see what being the plug is all about. Furthermore, because most dudes in this country don't know anything about strains, hash, bud, and just take whatever the plug has, I didn't need to worry about people thinking I scammed them. Also, your boy conducted a thorough inspection of this new product using only the most delicate and scientific tools possible. Oh, okay, I hit that shit through a Red Bull canning. It kicked pretty nicely, so I dubbed it Verified Lab. After securing half an ounce of the Verified Lab, which is 14 grams in European tongue, I went to work on finding customers. And obviously the best place to start is on Snapchat. So I took a picture of the Zaza with the caption, 15 bucks per gram, hit me up. Which is a steal, because, well, it sold for 20 a G here. And unfortunately, I only got one sale, cause I guess most of the people who I knew smoke Verified Lab were plugs themselves and knew of the existence of HHC and that it's like 6 bucks a gram. But I was still determined to flip them packs and make them racks, so I hit up the most trustworthy plug I knew who actually had people in his contacts who smoked Verified Lab, but were not in the business of trapping themselves. After a thorough business meeting where we may or may not have smoked the grass ourselves, he conducted that the gas I had was indeed worthy of the title Verified Lab, and offered to buy it all for 12 bucks a gram, which, I mean, I got it for 8.5, so I obviously said yes. At first I thought that was all. I made a nice profit of about 40 bucks and was feeling good. But after about 2 days, I got a message from the plug I conducted business with reading, "Bro, that shit sold out quick. Can you order more? I think I can actually sell this stuff for 25 a G, cause people want the same stuff real bad." Now, I think you are currently pondering two questions. Why didn't he just order more himself? And how the hell did these dudes not know it was HHC? Well, the reason he didn't order more himself is quite simple. He is a full-time OG plug, so dudes does not have a bank account to order stuff. And to answer the second question, I truly don't know. I couldn't really believe it myself, but I guess most stoners really don't give a fuck about news and staying up to date with it. In the words of the great plug himself, these dudes just wanna get as up as possible. They don't know nothing about no THC, HHC, CBD, BBC, NBA, MMA, nothing. Anyway, it all sounds great, right? Everybody loves the Verified Lab and are willing to pay premium for it. Plus, it's all technically legal and I don't even need to sell it myself. Well, it would have been, but there were two problems that made it a bit more sketch. You see, the issue with HHC is that it's a chemically produced product. All it actually is THC with a couple extra hydrogen molecules. And through thorough research, both practical and scientifical, I found out that HHC is very unstable in nature, meaning one patch of the same strain can truly be Verified Lab. But then the next patch made with the exact same ZA and same way could be some whack leftover Reggie. It's because it's very hard to control how well this hydrogen molecule binds to the THC, and not financially worth it to control the potency of each patch. So you could order that shit once and get some damn moon rock, or like the first experience I had with HHC, get some damn oregano. And the second problem was the plug I was conducting business with didn't want that risk all to himself, so I would have to cover the upfront costs of the HHC and then give it to him where he would hopefully flip it for 25 bucks a G, which I would receive 15 bucks a G and him 10. So here I was with quite the pickle of a conundrum. Should I order a whole ounce of HHC, which by buying an ounce you get the best price per gram, but I risk it being whack Reggie? Or should I just order a fourth, therefore lowering the risk of getting whack product, but also lowering the profit margins? And the conclusion I arrived at was the best of both worlds. I ordered half an ounce just like before. After receiving the good, I gave half of it to the trustworthy OG plug and waited for that passive income to roll in. But unfortunately, it was as I feared. The stuff I got this time was still good and solid, but it just wasn't the Verified Loud I received before. So the OG plug was having trouble marketing it as premium ZA and lowered the price to the industry standard 20 bucks a G. But unfortunately, dudes were catching on as well, and some of them refused to buy the ZA cause they could just order it online. Like, yeah, you can, but wouldn't you rather buy from your friendly neighborhood plug? I guess not, cause after a couple days, the OG plug sent me another message. Yo, this stuff ain't moving like before, and people catching on about the origins. I have half of the stuff left. If you want, I'll buy it out for 10 bucks a G. G, or just return it to you, which I hesitantly chose the first option, so I had him just buy it out. Yet there was still the issue of the 7 Gs or so I had left, which I initially planned on flipping, but was unfortunately unable to, cause mofos knew I got that shit for pennies compared to the asking price. So I did as all plugs would do and dubbed the leftover HHC as my personal stash, and just started blazing my own product, which was kinda stupid in hindsight because a couple weeks after, HHC was illegalized, as we all knew it would be, and became a rarity in the ZA industry, which mofos started flipping that shit for 30 bucks a G. Like, goddamn, it ain't even that different from normal ZA. Anyway, by the end of it all, I made a bit under $100 in profit, or in another metric, about 10 Gs of ZA, which I smoked myself. So really the conclusion to my plugging experience was I got free grass, which was a bit underwhelming cause I was hoping to become the local Pablo Escobar, if you know what I mean. Moral of the story is don't get high off your own supply, or at least if you want to be a businessman. Oh, and also don't sell illegal things, cause well, this HHC was legal, so I could have technically flipped it on Facebook Marketplace or something. Vaping versus smoking. Both activities extremely similar to the naked eye, yet in reality, these lung-destroying practices are quite different. The same way smoking ZA used to be a very niche thing, mostly done by hippies in the 1960s to 1970s, so was vaping in the 2000s to early 2010s. Yet both smoking and vaping slowly but surely took over the world, to where nowadays you'll be walking down the street and see a dude puffing on a strawberry iced guacamole stick on one side, and on the other see a bunch of college kids sitting on a bench eyes squinting like they got hit with a flashbang, holding the Teenage Mutant Ninja card screaming blinker. And although a lot of times a vapor can also be a smoker and the other way around, I'm here to try and figure out which one of these practices is definitively superior to the other, so you can once and for all say to the opposing faction, at least I don't vape, or at least I don't smoke. So let's get started with the first category, and that is the effect. This is probably the most important category because if you're going to damage your lungs and throat by inhaling a foreign substance, it better be at least a fun time. Which I think we can all agree this is where smoking and vaping are completely different. With vaping, the high you get, if you can even call it that, is a buzz in your body, lightheadedness, bit of an increase to your social battery, and of course a small dopamine boost. But here's the kicker, you only feel this effect like the first couple times you do it, and later mostly only in the morning on your first puffs. So the action of vaping just kind of becomes a mindless habit where you're doing it not for the effect but just because your body is telling you, hey, it's been like 30 minutes, you should really go and rip that 99 Nick strawberry mango punch. Whereas the high you get from the grass is actually what you're inhaling it for, and although the effects vary from person to person, they usually consist of better mood, increased appetite aka the munchies, laughter, the increased significance of your thoughts, creativity, laziness, sleepiness, etc. But also these effects are felt for much longer, of about 2 to 4 hours, compared to vaping, which is literally like 10 seconds. So if you look at it straight up, then smoking absolutely takes this category with ease. But then again, for people who are prone to getting paranoid and need everything planned out, the high from the ZA isn't guaranteed to be enjoyable, cause I mean, you can just green the fuck out. Whereas with vaping, you can't really get a bad trip, cause I mean, there is no trip. You're just sitting puffing on your mango stick doing whatever you're doing. But all in all, I'ma still go with the ZA on this one. So 1-0 smoking. Now let's look at the cost. Whether you want to inhale Chinese sweatshop chemicals that taste like strawberries or the devil's lettuce, it's gonna cost you. But the question is, which one is more expensive at every level of consumption? Well, let's look at it. Level 1 for vapors would be you just buy a dispo every week or so, which comes out to about $20 to $40 a month. And level 1 for smokers, I'd say it's about the same if you just blaze up on the weekends. So far, they're tight on cost, but now if you move up to level 2, which I think for vaping, it now indicates you're addicted and spending anywhere between $80 to $100 on dispos a month. For the ZA, level 2 would be smoking up once or twice every night at the end of your day, which although you're technically smoking every day, I don't think you'll be spending more than $100 a month. So looks like smoking is edging it out. Well, that's until the next level, where most vapors probably buy themselves a box mod, which is the equivalent of buying a car instead of taking a taxi everywhere. And on the other end, here's where smoking za can get a bit more expensive. At level 3, you blazing 24/7, and you're high not just at the nighttime when you're done with your day, but also when you're going through your day. And because of that, your tolerance has gone up a lot, to the point you having to spend over $200 a month just to continue your za smoking, which don't let it get that far. Please, it's really not worth it. And at level 3 vaping, because you can just get a box mod eco nic machine, your costs ain't really go up that much. Shit, it might have even gone down. So basically, at the higher echelon of being a nic fiend, it's much cheaper than being a 24/7 high stoner, which would mean vaping wins, right? Well, technically yeah, but to be honest, is it really a good thing you can puff on your lung cancer strawberry ice machine for so cheap? I don't think so, and honestly, I'm kinda happy about how if you smoke up 24/7, your tolerance will evolve to a point you have to drop a bag every month just to keep up with your dependency. That being said, I'ma have to leave it at a tie here. 2-1 smoking grass. Now it's time for addictiveness. I think this one's a no-brainer. Nicotine is obviously more addictive, right? Well, yeah, but there are some more aspects to this comparison, like the fact even if you're completely addicted to nic, you can go about your everyday life just the same, cause it doesn't make you slower mentally, nor lazy, nor paranoid. It's just slowly but surely giving you lung cancer. But with za, if you really start abusing that shit, it'll affect your everyday life, cause it can lower motivation, make you less driven, slower mentally, and hazy. But all of that is only if you let yourself get that far, which is much harder than with nic. Cause the za is just less addictive than the mango stick, meaning with vaping it can literally take just one puff to get you hooked, but with the za it's more like an experience. So although you might have a great time your first high, you won't be in the school bathrooms the next day like,
Yo, you think you can give me a couple puffs off that? Haven't hit anything in hours. Really? Give me that!
okay, it's not that bad, but be wary. Nicotine fiends, they'll do anything for a puff off that elf bar. For real. Anyway, this point goes to the grass yet again because of its much less addictive nature. 3-1 smoking. But maybe this next category will ignite a comeback for vaping. Availability. Nic sticks are sold everywhere, from gas stations to smoke shops to shit, some grocery stores. And on the other hand, the Zaza, if you're in the United States, where let's be honest, you probably are, you can get them at dispensaries or your local Pablo Escobar, the plug. Which unfortunately, dispensaries are more of a luxury that only legal state citizens in the US are afforded, and for the rest of us, we have to deal with the lawless, sometimes sleazy creatures called plugs. I mean, for real, why the fuck do I, a law-abiding citizen, have to deal with criminals on a weekly basis just because I wanna relax and eat some double-stuffed Oreos on a Friday night? But if I wanna get shit-faced drunk and go outside with the homies committing 3 counts of disrupting the peace, 4 counts of destruction of public property, and 58 counts of,
Yo, what's that guy looking at? He got a problem?
then that's totally fine. So I think we can all agree vaping takes this one. 3-2. Now time for a category which will either tie it up or secure the major Tate W for smoking, and that is the community. Vape Nation versus yeah man. Or at least that's the stereotype. In reality, it ain't really like that. Although from my experience, vapors are more extroverted because they're always vaping in a circle in the damn bathroom, chit-chatting about their flavors. And smokers are more introverted and chill, who would rather sit down and play some modded Minecraft with the homies than go to the club. Oh, and if you're looking for a place where you can find more people like that, then why not join the Itscbdbro Discord? We also just hit 5k members, so join the revolution, the weed revolution. Anyway, this could be biased because I'm a smoker myself, but I personally think the Zaza community is better than the vaping. Although I really don't like grass NPCs who make the Za their whole personality, these dudes are pretty easily spottable and avoidable. But I mean, vapors got the same thing. Imagine standing in a circle, everybody puffing on their dispo, and then some dude pulls out the Vaporizer Ultra 3000i Max, fully equipped with 8 flavors, a touchscreen, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth capability. I think the exact same thing that I do with grass NPCs. That's a bit too much, man. Anyway, 4-2. Smoking wins.
Buying from the plug is always an experience, cause unless you're super tight with him, you never know if you're gonna get the leftover oregano Reggie pack he scraped from the bottom of his grinder, or if you lucky and the RNG god smile upon you, you might just get the finest organic grass-fed grass there is on planet Earth. But alas, most plugs keep that quality stuff for only the loyalist of customers or new buyers. For me, it was the latter. It begins with me and the main homie Salamander. We had just gotten home from school on a Friday and had scraped our money together for a night of hitting the Spliffington and playing video games. Now, usually it was Salamander who secured the bag, cause I didn't really have too many connects. Unfortunately, this time he was unable to find the holy saw from his usual catalog of plugs. But we didn't let that discourage us, cause we knew if there is a will, there is a way. So both me and Salamander started hitting up everybody we knew who dabbled with the powers of the green plant, and it wasn't looking too good. Altogether, we wrote about 10 people, half of which just ignored us, and the other half just said they were out. So, as we sat there on the couch, hope dwindling, sadness emerging, and worst of all, no Zaza approaching, we were about to call it a day, when one of the dudes who had initially ignored us sent out a beacon of light. Yeah, I know a guy, he just started plugging, so I can't vouch for the quality, but he definitely got some. Now, if you've ever been in a situation like this, you know it is one of the best feelings in the world when you've almost given up, but in the last second, you get that holy text of, yeah, how much? But even though we were pretty stoked, we were also a little bit wary, because this $20 we had saved up was the equivalent of 20 million in today's money, and because this guy was new and no info was given on the quality, we were scared of getting a bag of oregano. And I mean, at the time, we both thought all plugs are grueling gangsters ready to kill you on sight if you so much as make the wrong sound. So if it really was a bag of oregano, there was nothing we could do about it. Anyway, the time comes for us to meet up with this mysterious plug, and the instructions he gave us were to come to this rundown gas station's loading area in the back at 8 p.m. sharp. So we did. As we were standing there at 7:58 p.m., we could only imagine what vicious, heinous, devious killer would come to greet us. So yeah, we hyped him up a little too much, but all that mattered now was the grass and if it was good or not. We went through the usual plug dialogue options like, yo, what's up? Yeah bro, can't wait to get suited today. This that good, etc. Until he finally revealed the grass, and what I witnessed to this day I find absurd. The grass was golden. NANI? Not in like shiny gold, but it was this yellowish color with green accents. Beautiful. And the smell. Bro opened that bag up for us to sniff, but it was not necessary, as the smallest opening in that Ziploc baggie consumed the entire area with the finest fragrance imaginable. Oh, okay, well, finest is the wrong word probably. The shit smelled like cat piss, but that's a good thing with Zaza. So we gave up our $20 with no hesitation and returned to Salamander's place with this golden grass of the gods. Now, usually we would just roll up a spliff and consume the za like that, but as this seemed to be legendary material and we didn't want to waste even a single microgram, we made a makeshift can that would allow us to ration this gram to the maximum. So now it was time to hit the za, and it went something like this. Are you ready? Shit, you know it. Here goes nothing. You good, bro? Yeah, you gotta hit this shit, man. Hey, you good? You good, bro? You hear me? You good? Yeah, man, this is some good stuff. This shit was heavenly. It was not of this world, I swear. Now, I'm not sure if it was because our tolerance was pretty much zero at the time, or it was really grass descending from heaven. Probably a mix of both. But one thing I do know, that was the highest I had ever been up until that point. And well, as we know, when you were really high, you don't remember much the night after. So unfortunately, I don't know exactly what we talked about or what we did, but I do remember that we caught a major case of the Joker's laughing gas cause we found everything hilarious. We were so goddamn high, it took us a solid 20 minutes to navigate the PS4 menu to launch our game game of Call of Duty. And when we did launch it, we were cognitively impaired. Felt like the controller was inverted or some shit. But safe to say, that Friday night we were truly blessed by the plug, and we went on to exclusively buy from that guy until he stopped plugging 1 month later. But he will always hold a special place in my heart as the plug of plugs. We all know there is an invisible hierarchy in high school that, depending on where you stand, will determine how many girls and party invitations you get. But understanding your place in the pyramid is the first step to dominating, because if you're at the bottom, no amount of riz will get you that one super hot Latina model chick you stalk on Instagram every day. Anyway, let's get right into Level 1. Total Geek. Now, the Total Geek level doesn't necessarily mean that you walk around with a waifu plushie wearing a Naruto Shippuden t-shirt all the time. What it does mean though is that your social game is 0, and the only interactions you have in school are either with the teacher or with other Total Geeks. This would be the guy who sits alone at the back and has a voice crack every time they need to speak in front of the class. The people who are on this level usually project a false reality in their heads, so they don't see themselves as geeks. In fact, the opposite. They see themselves as the secret Sigmas who don't socialize with anyone because they just don't want to, and if they wanted to, they'd be the most popular person in school. This can be very dangerous, and one must call himself out on this if he wishes to advance in the rankings, because if not, well...
They all think they're so cool. They don't even know if I wanted to, I could be the leader of this class and get every girl I wanted.
Hey, can you give me a pen? I don't know where mine is.
Yeah. Here you go. She totally got raised by the Rizzler.
Level 2. Not a Total Geek. Welcome to the first level where you might just have some friends inside the school. Even though you're probably still not gonna be invited to parties, you might have a couple popular kids who think you're aight. And well, at least no one looks at you as one tick away from shooting up the school. That was a joke, YouTube. But where your social game really takes a step up is at Level 3. Goofy Goober. This is where your quality of life improves dramatically, because you don't have to worry about whether or not you're gonna have anyone to talk to or sit with in the cafeteria and class. You'll start to notice that you have merged into a friend group, whether intentionally or not. And because of that, you are also invited to parties. But even though you are invited, that doesn't mean you're popular, because most likely you are more of a filler character than a main. Meaning, your purpose in said function is to be an NPC to make the party appear more lively, because as we know, the more people at the function, the more memorable it is. But all you gotta do to get to the next level is to do something cool, like, I don't know, maybe a backflip. Hey everybody, watch me do this backflip. Don't worry, I'm... Okay, so that probably won't advance you to the next level, but you know what I mean. Anyway, let's move on to Level 4, the Popular Kid. You've done it. You are officially popular. So now you are finally qualified to attempt rizzing up those big booty Latinas. Emphasis on attempt, because even though you are invited to every party and have a lot of friends, doesn't mean your riz is up to par. That being said, Level 5. Chad. Welcome to the pinnacle of popularity. Not only are you liked by almost everyone, you are also respected. Cause remember that super hot model chick you were stalking on IG? She is now one of your many achievements in the cruel and unforgiving world of high school. To add to that, not only are you invited to every party, you are the foundation to a great high school function. Cause if you pull up, so do the hoes. Knowing that, you pick and choose if a party is deserving of your immaculate riz. But there is someone you fear, someone who challenges your undisputable game in the shadows, someone who didn't have to earn the power. He was born with it. He is Level Infinity, Sigma Chad. This is what most total geeks think they are, dream of being. He really doesn't care at all about his riz. In fact, he doesn't even know what it means. All he knows is for some reason every time he talks to any girl, they get all giggly and anxious. This person has the natural social skills and looks to be a LA influencer, but he just doesn't care. And that's the reason why the Chad doesn't like him. But unlike everybody else, the Chad holds no power over this guy. In fact, he fears him, because if he were to talk bad about the Sigma, it would greatly lower his popularity. And what angers the level 5s the most is the fact that the Sigma acts oblivious to the hierarchy, so he might hang out with a group of geeks one day and then go to a cheerleader-only party the next, whereas the Chad must adhere to the social structure in order to maintain his position as the king of high school, which means in reality, he is still just another pawn in the endless struggle to become popular.
But that's just a theory. A game theory. You know, the line between a fun high and a you done high is very thin. And that shit is no joke. Sometimes all it takes is just one extra puff. And that's when I finally realized that dude was not talking about no Coca-Cola to drink.
Wait, but I did buy this weed from him. I wonder if...
No, wait, it can't be. Everybody stop right now. I think we're all smoking crack.
Hey, yo, see, you got any more of that weed you gave me yesterday? Oh, it's really good shit. Yeah, I really like it. Hey, yo, I see you have some. Hey, yo, give me, I'll give you anything. I'll fucking suck your dick.
And that's exactly why you can never trust a plug who also sells that Coca-Cola, if you know what I'm saying. But your weed being laced with a substance that'll change the chemistry of your brain and make the pursuit of your dreams and happiness into the pursuit of concentrated 1900s Coca-Cola and ruin your life forever is the least of your worries when you smoke up with a bunch of sad boys. Now, don't get me wrong, mental health is very important and you should never keep everything inside because your loved ones want to help you. But bro, ever since Juice WRLD dropped Lucid Dreams, motherfuckers will find any reason to be depressed.
I still see your shadows in my room. Can't take back the love that I gave you.
Yo, what's going on with you, bro? Like, you've been acting really sad as of late.
You wouldn't understand. I'm depressed. There's just no point to anything.
Wait, but you weren't depressed 2 days ago. Oh, you're on a sad boy phase.
Sad boy? No! Oh, fuck, I guess I am.
Yeah, bro, how about we go to Salamander's place, get obliterated, and play some Super Smash Bros. Instead of whatever the fuck you're doing here?
Yeah, what am I doing here?
Yeah, let's just get out of here.
1 hour later.
So, Ricky, you still sad? Nah, I'm having a blast. Wait, but you were saying something about, like, someone's shadows you were still seeing in your room?
I don't want to talk about that.
And that's the story of how we were able to stop Ricky from becoming a full-time sad boy, just in the nick of time. But besides almost losing a friend to the song Sad, exclamation point, there have been 2 extremely scary highs I have gone through. One was instigated by the popo, man, fuck the police, and the other was from the fear of losing my life. Let me set the scene for you. I'm in high school and I've smoked maybe 3 or 4 times ever, but the last time I did was months ago, so my tolerance was damn near at the level of smelling some grass and getting faded. Anyway, so I had a couple friends who have been asking me relentlessly to get some and get faded because they didn't know any plugs and really wanted to try it. So one weekend I decided to finally fulfill their request and hit up my homie Salamander and acquired the exotic. The weekend came and we found ourselves in my dorm room rolling a J, which, well, I had rolled it and it took me a while because my stats were low AF. Basically, I was out there trying to pick an expert level lock with 0 points in perception, dog. After going through 20 papers, the abomination was ready though, so we went deep into the local park and sparked it. Barely, because that shit had almost 0 airflow. I had to relight the damn thing after every puff. Yet that was definitely not even close to the worst part, because these motherfuckers were begging me to get the Zon in the first place, were scared shitless to get high, so I ended up smoking like 80% of the J myself, leaving me absolutely zoinked in a group where nobody else wasn't. So you can imagine I was feeling pretty betrayed, and also a bit scared, because if you've ever been obliterated in a group where no one else is, you know that you feel kind of like an alien abandoned by your comrades in a hostile planet, and that feeling was amplified by the fact that these friends of mine were kind of dickheads. Because after puffing down the J, we went to the local gas station to get some munchies, and of course I was fiending for some trans fat, so I asked them if they could go in there and bring me the stuff I wanted, and I'd of course pay them back. Pretty reasonable and easy, right? Being that I was the only one who was blasted and scared of getting caught. I guess fucking not, because these pussios who didn't even inhale the fucking weed told me that they wouldn't bring me anything if I didn't come in. Which, I mean, these days I wouldn't mind, but I was like 17 and it was a Friday night, the prime time for cop patrol, so I had no choice and went in there tweaking out of my mind like...
Oh, fuck, this place is full. Shit. Wait, it feels like they're all staring at me. No, I think I'm just high. Okay, let's just get out of here. I'm not gonna order anything. Okay, fine. Go to the corner.
Hey, yo, bro, I'm gonna just take some chips and candy, okay? And can you give me the car keys so I can just wait it out in the car while you guys wait for your food? Yeah?
No.
What? Why?
I'm not even gonna turn it on, bro.
Hey, cuz, bro, I got an announcement to make.
This motherfucker,
Bro, shut the fuck up!
that ain't funny. Unbake this fall, you pussy.
Okay, but yeah, you're not getting the keys.
So basically, these scumbags just decided to torture me, and because I had to wait for their food anyway, I went to order some too. And as I was doing so, 3 girls from my school approached me at the counter and were like, yeah, I'll have a
Hey, see, I heard you guys smoked some weed, yeah?
Well, no, I'll have the dumplings, yeah. But yeah, we definitely did.
We're all super duper sober bober.
Yeah, you did. Dwayne said so. You got some left? You can come to our place if you have some. We really want to get faded too.
And in that moment, I had to pause and rethink my whole life because I did not in fact have any left because I wasted it all on my rinky-dinky sausage party bum fun enjoying friends. Which if I would have had some left, I could have gone to these girls' crib and smoked up with 3 hot chicks. But no, I donated all the weed to Dumber, and me, the dumbest. And after that realization of alliances, I changed the famous saying, bros before hoes, to bros who aren't hoes before bros. And I live by that to this day. But the scariest part was yet to come, because as I was waiting for my food posted up at the ice cream station, a cop walked in. And that just set my tweak meter to a whole new level. I felt my heart rate spike to like 200 and I was shaking, just begging God for him not to walk towards me. But he fucking did. I avoided eye contact at all costs, but it seemed he had his eyes set on me. He got closer and closer until he was standing right in front of me.
Fuck, why is he here? He knows I'm faded, doesn't he? Oh shit, I'm fucked. I'm going to juvie. This is over. Oh my god, I'm gonna fucking die. Yes, officer?
Could you move out of the way, please? I want some ice cream.
Yeah, of course. My bad.
Thanks. Nothing better than some good old Ben & Jerry's to complement a sour diesel joint. Shit, fucking fire.
Okay, the last part maybe didn't happen, okay? Anyway, the build-up, the weed, the cop, everything combined gave me some of the worst anxiety I've ever had. But the relief when he just wanted some ice cream was equally amazing. I had gotten away from this horrid situation, and once we got our food, we went to a hangout spot where I got really cold and tweaked again. Overall, I'd rate the high a 7 out of 10 just because it was eventful and I got a nice adrenaline dump, but it would have been a damn 9.5 if your boy could have gone to the girl's crib and got faded with some hot females instead of my pussy friends, goddamn. Although this high was quite stressful, it did have its highlights. The first high. I think most of us remember our first time inhaling the Zaza, cause for the unlucky few who got hit with that paranoid pack and started bugging out like that Szechuan sauce dude at McDonald's, they probably wrote off the grass as an unholy manifestation of the devil himself. For me, my first sight was a truly enlightening moment, as I ain't no dum-dum, so I took the proper precautions to ensure I wasn't gonna be laying on the bed having Vietnam flashbacks cause my mom came home and wanted me to do some chores or something. But anyway, the first time high experience is different for everybody, but it always starts with the securing of the bag. Now, depending on how old you were and where you live, this part of the first high was either the easiest or the most stressful, because nowadays mofos can go to a damn tree and acquire the holiest and strongest grass in the universe like a damn candy bar. But back in the Wild West, you had to deal with these dudes called plugs. And if you were just a normal kid buying an illegal item from some dude named Spider, it was really scary. Like me and my homies always imagined they'd be all tattooed up, packing heat in every pocket, looking like Mike Tyson when he got out of jail. In reality, they were usually just normal dudes trying to make a quick buck. And also, now that I'm older, I've kind of realized all these plugs with tattoos and nicknames like Scorpion or some shit were literally just wannabe thugs who just listened to a bit too much UK drill and made it their whole personality overnight. But anyway, once you secured the bag, you had to move on to setting the time and place. Now, if you had a friend with his own crib or with parents who frequently left the house unattended, this was easy, but if not, well, that's where a lot of these bad trips happened. Mofos were fiending to get high so bad, a lot of them decided, fuck it, let's just get high at school, or something crazy like that. And let me tell you, you gotta mentally be David Goggins if you get high for the first time at school and don't start tweaking. Even after I had puffed up a good amount, I still didn't consider getting high at school a chill experience. It was a mission every single time. Like, however calm you thought you were, all it took was one...
Mr. C, can you tell me the answer to question 14, please? Yeah, sure. So, question 14, well, the answer... Excuse me, Mr. C, are you on something?
Well, shit. Juvie it is, I guess. But hey, I do know dudes who did this for their first and survived. And big props to them, just couldn't be me, and I don't recommend it be you either. Another popular option, which was kind of in the middle, was just getting faded outside at the park on a weekend or something. This was much more chill, but the problem of randoms walking around and the fear of getting an unexpected call from your parents or something was still quite prevalent. Also, another downside, coma is quite easily catchable. So if you puffed on that za for too long, you might have gotten a bad trip because you got glued to the park bench. Speaking of puffing for too long, choosing the amount. Last part, but arguably the most important, is obviously choosing the size of the portion. Now, depending on your friends and if they were heads or not, they could have told you anything from
Yeah, man, so, a good first hit is, this entire 1 gram spliff. Inhale it all and, you should feel something.
to...
So yeah, this molecule should be enough for your first time. It's got a good amount of atoms in it.
In reality, it's somewhere in the middle, cause being it's your first time, your tolerance doesn't exist yet, so even smelling some premium wood might have gotten you high. Then again, if the stuff wasn't premium, you might have been left disappointed at barely feeling anything and writing it off as,
Yeah, I'm just built different, I guess. It don't work on me.
And actually, for some reason, a lot of dudes don't feel anything their first time, including me. I always imagined there being some wall of defense in my body, and with every hit, it got weaker, until finally it broke and opened the floodgates for the green magic to flow through. But there is a final step that a lot of people forget to do, and that is enjoying the high. So yeah, don't try to control it, flow with it. You get me? Especially if you alone. And also, my first time was alone. I don't know about you guys, but it seems like nowadays most mofos would rather breathe mango juice mist than oxygen. I mean for real, vaping is so normalized and common, you'd be hard pressed to find someone who doesn't do it. Like I swear, some dudes don't even have their own vape, but just know everybody else has one and rely on that to fill their addiction. Couldn't be me though.
What you looking at?
Anyway, since your boy is a freshly addicted nicotine fiend, I've experienced firsthand the levels of addiction to this devilish substance, and I hope for your guys' sakes, you've never nor never will touch the stuff. Level 1.
Bro, why would anyone like this?
Your first puff off that awful mango stick, and even though it tastes pretty nice, you probably thought to yourself, bro, why would anyone do this? Just chew gum or something. But then after a couple more puffs, cause I mean you're already at the function or bathroom or whatever, you're like, wait, what's this feeling? I feel a bit dizzy and lightheaded, but I think I like it. And boom, you just took your first step to addiction land. But if you're one of the strong, mythical humans who after that realization also realized that this shit can get bad real quick and stopped, big ups to you, big dog, cause you actually a true G for that. But for most people, it was more like, oh, this is pretty nice. I think I'll visit the bathroom tomorrow as well. And well, that right there is the beginning of the end, cause if you go to that bathroom the next day too, you'll move right on to Level 2, Social Vapor. Well, you didn't stop yourself when it would have been easy, and now here you are. Not a resident in the school bathroom yet, but a frequent visitor. At this point, you still don't have your own vape, cause in your mind, you know that's when you can't make any more excuses. You would be addicted and would have to face the harsh reality. But while you're at this level, mofos will urge you to buy your own one, and well, that's because you're always begging for them quick rips without donating them yourself. Which, although kind of a dick move, if you can somehow take those ego hits of brokey, get your own vape, fool. Ah, it's the quick rip beggar. Without buying your own, you're actually doing good. And to be honest, vape juice costs pennies, and most of the fools who tell you to buy your own just don't want to feel inferior, so they try to get you completely addicted like them. But if you fall under the spell of the Tate fans and the word brokey destroys you, plus, you know, it would be nice to be able to inhale that cancerous mango juice at home too. You'll move on to Level 3. The Itscbdbro vape man is here. You bought yourself a disposable vape, cause well, it's the easiest way to get your own nicotine addiction machine without forking up $50 for one of those weird futuristic box things that make them mega clouds. And because of that, your inhaling of mango juice has quadrupled at least, if not hexex mega dupled, which is like
15 times more. I think. I don't know math. You vape on your way to school or work, you vape during that time, you vape on the way back, and you vape when you're home. So yeah, things ain't looking that good. But remember how at level 2 you told yourself, I will admit that I'm addicted when I buy my own vape? Yeah, well, now you're telling yourself, I just bought one, I'm not addicted or anything. Which will be a recurring theme in the unholy land of addiction. Good news is, this is the point where most people draw some type of line. So like, I can only buy one vape a week, or I'ma slowly start trying to decrease my consumption of cancer. Bad news is though, nicotine is gonna try its damn best to beat that sense of moderation out of you. And if you let it, well, you're going to. Level 4. I'm addicted, aren't I? Welcome to Addiction Land. It's a lot like Yodi Land, except for it sucks balls. And there's monsters and demons and stuff too. At this point, you don't go anywhere without your vape. I mean, for real, the thought of not having it with you makes you low-key anxious. And also, you've abandoned trying to hide your addiction from others. Meaning, before, let's say you went to a family gathering or something, you would deem that a no-vape zone, cause being addicted is something no one wants to admit to themselves, especially the people who are closest to you. But at least you're not addicted to the point of not going to places you can't vape. Because although it is tough not being able to inhale mango juice for an extended period of time, you still have the self-respect to be like, no, I'm not that much of an addict that I'm not gonna go to my homie's funeral cause I can't vape there. I will endure the pain. Unfortunately, the whole addiction is deeper, and you still haven't touched the bottom, so if you keep on inhaling without lowering the frequency of it, you'll move on to Level 5. The depths of hell. Well, you're addicted and your brain has ran out of excuses to make you feel better about yourself. If anyone asks if you're ever gonna quit, your answer will most likely be, maybe one day, or when I need to. The latter being such an incredibly sad and stupid answer that I'm pretty sure the person saying it doesn't even understand how messed up it is. Like, what do you mean? You'll stop when your doctor says you have lung cancer? Bro, it's too late. Here's your chemotherapy brochure. Treatment starts tomorrow. All jokes aside, guys, this is awful. I've heard people say stuff like that, and it really does sadden me that they themselves don't even understand how shitty of a situation they're in. At this point, you have 100% started experiencing awful side effects like smoker's cough, phlegm in your throat 24/7, and overall low energy and mood when you're not inhaling nicotine. The road to recovery is long and hard, but if you can somehow find the courage to start trying to beat this awful, devilish, monstrous addiction, you'll go to Level 6. Recovery. Not much to say here. When you got all the way to level 5, it's gonna be a slow climb down. Unlike the lower levels where if your willpower allows it, you can just stop on the spot and go back to level 0. Here though, you gotta slowly go down cause you have actual side effects from not consuming Nick. But for all my homies who have the courage to admit to themselves that this shit has gotten out of hand, I applaud you and hope for a day where all of us can chill together in peace without having that constant voice in our heads going, hey, it's been 20 minutes. Time for some nicotine. And if you're thinking about trying vaping, then please, for me, you, and everybody who loves you, don't. It's awful and lame as fuck. Mushrooms are a lot like that one friend who is always talking and it kind of annoys you, but at the same time you love him cause you know he's always keeping it real with you. So if you are fiending for a third eye awakening on some Dragon Ball Super shit, you better be ready for the shroomy shrooms to take you through the depths of your unconscious, where it will dig out and highlight questions about your very fabric of existence like, who am I? Why are we here? Do I like men? But anyway, that doesn't happen the very instant you eat the shrooms. In fact, the stages of a mushroom trip are so different, each one of them could be considered a substance of their own. But the first stage everyone experiences is Stage 1, Ingestion/come up. Right after consuming those Mario power-ups, you might feel your stomach twist and turn a bit, as your body is signaling to you, this shit was not food, wasn't it? But thankfully, it's usually pretty minor and goes away after a few minutes. While waiting for the shrooms to kick, you probably stare at a bunch of random objects hoping to find some type of moving pattern, cause that's what shrooms are supposed to do, right? Well, yeah, kind of, but after 30 minutes goes by and you're still staring at the wall with no sign of visual hallucinations, you probably think to yourself, man, I got scammed, didn't I? But then you start really thinking about it. are you feeling something? And then you think about the next thing, and the next thing, and then you might laugh at something completely random like this picture of SpongeBob, and boom, you now realize they weren't duds, and you're about to go on a journey, bro. Also, after all this, you probably move on to Stage 2. Questions that lead to more questions. You're at the point now where you know the shroom's kicking, but you don't really see any visuals except for maybe the increased significance of every object. But the main thing is, you have started questioning everything you know, but not in a scary way of, nothing matters, there is no point. More of a, man, I love hanging out with Charlie. Wait, do I though? What type of person is he actually? He's friendly, but kinda secretive and keeps to himself. What is he keeping to himself? Could he be a totally different person? Am I becoming a better person by hanging out with him? What is going on? So yeah, this stage can be very eye-opening to some, especially if you're the type of person to hang on to problems and worries instead of facing them. Because however hard you try not to think about something, the shrooms won't let you. And although it might seem like that's a bad thing, it's actually not. And you should treat this time of the trip to pinpoint the main questions you would like to receive some type of answers to by the end. Because soon after, you're gonna go to Stage 3. Holy shit! The mushrooms are now almost at full effect, and you're definitely seeing some hallucinations, like moving patterns, disfigured items, wavy hands, etc. But to be honest, that isn't really the main thing, because if you approach this trip with the right mindset, as in you wanted to actually take something with you to the real world afterwards, then currently you are most likely intensely trying to piece together the answers to the questions you highlighted on the previous stage. But it ain't as easy as it seems. It feels like you were constantly on a breakthrough to something really important and significant, but then you lose it and have to start again with the pieces you left off with. But if you stick with it, you'll always figure something out. Maybe not the full picture, but something. Also, you shouldn't blame yourself if you start talking or thinking about something that you feel is very amazing, but then halfway through realize you literally pondering about the implications of the evolution of the Pringles Man logo, bruh. But not to worry, that's the beauty of shrooms. They make you think about everything on a deeper level, and if you can find the correct things to think about through the clutter of Matrix conspiracy theories, you'll still emerge victorious. Speaking about emerging, the next stage is Stage 4. The slow come down. You are now slowly coming down from the shrooms, which is indicated by the fact you don't see as many trippy patterns anymore, but also you're more realistic in your thoughts as well. Also, at this point, you probably aren't bouncing from thought to thought as much anymore and have chosen a definitive couple of things to think about. And with those things, you will find answers, but also a lot of new questions, which can be frustrating, well, until you get to the next and final stage. Stage 5. Journey complete. At this point, you have almost completely came down from the magic, but not really, because although you don't see any hallucinations anymore, you feel more in touch with reality and yourself. The best way I can describe this stage is like it's the fruit of your labor. This is the stage where you've gone through the constant questions and search for answers and come out victorious. Best way I can describe it is like you're high off some Zaza, but with a much clearer head. So this is the perfect time to play some video games, watch a movie, or do really anything you find fun. Man, smoking too much is such an awkward thing, especially because of how normalized getting faded has become. Nobody wants to be the guy who kills the vibe by admitting they graining the thaw out. Like, dudes be knowing they approaching their limit, but peer pressure is a bitch. Like this one time in school when we were smacking the paper Penjamin on lunch break, and I could tell everybody was nearing the border between Yodiland and the Upside Down, but this motherfucker Salamander just kept on passing the J, and nobody wanted to be the first one to back out. Everyone kept on puffing and puffing until this one motherfucker just started puking. Like, goddamn. Safe to say, dude probably hasn't smoked again till this day. But you know, that was high school. Most kids weren't on that Wiz Khalifa pack like Salamander. I mean, this dude's parents were barely home, so mans must have just been low-key looking for attention by acting out. But instead, all he got was Snoop Dogg's tolerance and all the school thotties daily driving his dick. Some of you might not even know what it feels like when you smoke too much though. Shit, I know I didn't. My dumbass always just concluded that the stuff was laced, which looking back at
at it now makes me feel like a dinglebop for real. I mean, how you gonna smoke way more than you usually do in a situation you're not super comfortable in and then blame it on the weed? It's like a drunk driver suing an alcohol brand for making him unable to drive straight. Shit, it's like going to the store and buying too much food and then blaming the cashier for not stopping you. Like, bro, it's not on Jimmy the Plug God. Dude is probably smoking the same stuff as we speak. And yeah, I know sometimes it could actually be laced, but what does telling yourself that help? Like, wouldn't it be better to believe it's not and your brain is just tweaking? Then you could maybe, you know, calm yourself down. Unlike when you've convinced yourself the Plug is a fucking supervillain going around giving his customers schizophrenia. Like, goddamn, son, someone's gotta like the bat signal for real. But shit, I'm out here preaching like I ain't done this myself. Back when I was younger, I did green out a couple times, but since then, I have developed rules I follow to avoid this at all costs. Like, for example, first rule, you don't always gotta get obliviated, bruh. Seems simple enough, right? But back in the day, every time we were smoking, my dumbass felt like I had to get higher than last time. Once the J reached me, I just...
Thanks, bro. You guys got another one?
Bro. No. There's just some basic etiquette too, like everybody wanna get faded equally, but one thing with smokers is they usually always chill and peaceful, so when you start hogging a spliff, rarely is somebody gonna forcefully take that shit from you. Just next time when you pull up, they'll bag your ass, pistol whip you, throw you in the trunk, and bury you alive next to Mr. Beast. That video would probably have to be on Rumble though. But point is, you don't always gotta be the highest in the room. Second rule. Accept your limits. This is low-key the most important and the most difficult, but you might be thinking something like, don't you mean know your limits? No, I don't, bro. Cause I bet most y'all know them, just when you be watching Fulcrum smacking the Penjamin like that bitch be only containing O2, you get a false understanding on how much mofos be actually smoking. Cause you can always do more, but what you can't do is forcefully remove the THC from your system and get less high. So don't be a victim of peer pressure just cause you wanna be cool, fool. But these rules don't mean shit if you don't factor in where you are and what you're doing. Which leads me to the day that made me come up with these rules. The time in my young life when I smoked so much in the wrong place, I was goddamn obliviated. Shit, I smoked so much I had less dialogue options than an Oblivion NPC. The first time I got high outside the comfort of me or a friend's crib. It was the usual business. We were chilling with the gremlins, me, Salamander, and Ricky, smoking up, talking about how we don't fall with school and how we finna make it out the hood. You know, the usual Gen Z shit. When Salamander, being the thotty magnet he was, got a text from one of his female companions inviting to what this motherfucker claimed to be a chill hangout spot. Although I do trust the homies, knowing Salamander's track record, I was a bit sus, cause I seen the places this dude hangs out at. I be waking up at the middle of the night to take a piss, then check the snap only to see dudes partying at some straight up trap house bugging off fucking ketamine. Okay, can't say that on YouTube, but let's just say it wasn't weed. Anyway, you know the drill. I don't wanna go, Salamander uses his 99 speech, convinces Ricky, now it's a 2v1, and I fold. Epic victory royale. But I agreed only under the condition that none of us drink nor do anything else but smoke the Lords loud, because it was a motherfucking Thursday after all, so I wasn't trying to pull up to school smelling like a bum, acting like a depressed middle-aged man from The Hangover. Looking back at it though, that was probably the wrong call, cause, well, you'll see. So we're walking to the crib and Salamander lights up this comically big J that he rolled back at his place with a week's supply. While we're almost finished puffing and on the edge of obliviation, I see this super dope house that seems to be having a party, so I excitedly asked Salamander, "Yo, is that the spot?" Bro, okay, that place does seem pretty dope. Oh yeah, that's the spot. Glad you fought with it. Some people are kinda put off by it from the initial appearance. Anyway, let's just go in. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. You first though. Where are you going? What do you mean? The crib, bro. Leave it to Salamander to have you walk through an amazing street filled with beautiful houses and lead you to the only one that looks like Shrek's vacation home. To add to it, me and Ricky were quite frankly bugging. But as I mentioned in the previous rules, that's not always a good thing, especially when you're preparing to go into a house where your brain has calculated a 50-50 chance of being stabbed in the gut by a freaking tweaker with a kitchen knife. In my head, I was thinking, well, hoping for the saying, don't judge a book by its cover to be the case here. But oh boy, I should have judged the goddamn book by its cover and dashed off like Prime Usain Bolt. Cause what we were dealing with was in every sense of the word except not containing any of the actual substance, I think, a crack house. house. These people were blasting some of the most disgusting music I've ever heard. Shit sounding like the noise a speaker makes when you fiddle with the aux cord. And because I was high, that set the whole tone of my experience there. And shit, I did not know Salamander hanged out with vampires. Most of the dudes there were looking what you would imagine the local bum to be when he was young. I was in total shock. My teenage brain could not comprehend the degeneracy, the idiocy, the overall lack of humanity in that house. And it's not like I didn't try to have fun, but our highness did not mix with whatever the fuck these guys were on. At some point, I saw him pull out a vodka bottle, and they drank the whole thing in 5 minutes dry, straight from the bottle, like they were trying to speedrun liver failure. I attempted to conversate with some of them, but to no avail. I mean, what did I expect though? A drunk person usually isn't on the same wavelength as a high person, combined with the fact these dudes probably just got done sacrificing a goat to bring forth the Antichrist. I was starting to tweak the fuck out. Well, not tweak, I guess. Me and Ricky did have some fun by just bantering about how messed up of a place we had found ourselves in. All of this didn't seem to affect Salamander though, as we spotted him rizzing up a girl we assumed was the one that invited him, but we were wrong in that assessment because 5 minutes later the girl who actually invited him saw it, went up to him, yelled at him, and then slapped that man so hard it made him rethink his whole damn life. Cause as we were laughing at what had happened, he walked straight towards us and said, "Man, you guys want to do some ketamine?" Nah, he actually told us that this was probably a bad idea and that he's ready to leave if we are. Good thing too, cause if that girl hadn't slapped some sense into him, Salamander might have gone on to do the thing I mentioned like 3 times in this video. So anyway, we went back home at like 2 AM or something, put on some WWE on the TV, prepared to gleep, and got obliviated. Doesn't go much further than that. Shout out to Volker. Every type of cannabis explained, from weakest to strongest. We'll be looking at everything from the near oregano, low-grade flower that you probably smoked in high school to the most insane, near 100% THC concentrates that are sold at the top shelves of Cali dispensaries. Additionally, with the help of science and medical studies, we'll be categorizing each type of cannabis in the spectrum of entertainment, medical, creativity, and just plain old unhealthy. The objective of this video is to educate the public about the positives and negatives of weed in an entertaining way, but to do that, it is essential we discover how extremely varying different types of marijuana can be and why generalizing it as weed is good or weed is bad is just plain impossible. So without further ado, let's get into the weakest type of za there is, and that is low percentage THC flower and or CBD dominant strains. Okay, so I went into this video presuming you already know what THC and CBD is, but in case you don't, let's quickly summarize. THC is the chemical compound found in cannabis that makes you when the Family Guy becomes so funny, aka the munchies, laughter, feelings of euphoria, and overall its psychoactive effects come from THC. And CBD is the compound that reduces anxiety and can potentially help against depression, although the latter isn't as conclusive. There's also 2 distinct types of cannabis unrelated to its THC percentage, called sativa and indica, with sativa providing more of an energetic mind high and indica leaning towards a relaxing body high. So when we are talking about low percentage THC flower, aka 1 to 6% THC with a high concentration of CBD, we are in the realms of medical marijuana, meaning this type of weed, besides pure CBD of course, is the least intoxicating and can be potentially helpful to people with varying mental health issues. Just always keep in mind, smoking anything is harmful for our lungs, and even though this type of cannabis can be considered medical, it really depends on the person, their psyche, and what issues they are experiencing. So now we know low percentage THC flower links to the medical side, but what about entertainment and creativity? Well, although this type of cannabis won't have you staring at your wall for 30 minutes plotting your trip to the kitchen, it can, however, still give you a different perspective on things. Unrealistic feelings of euphoria and cartoonish thoughts probably won't occur, but that doesn't mean your creativity won't be affected at all. You might not come up with the next Rick and Morty while under the influence of this gas, but you could come up with creative solutions to pre-existing problems or give you a slightly different perspective on what you're doing. Coupled with the high concentration of CBD, which could help you feel more at ease and reduce possible anxiety that might have been attached to you before, this type of weed is best for beginners or people who could be trying to reduce their weed dependency without going straight up cold turkey, and that's why it lands itself in the far end of the medical spectrum, but not so much in the creativity and entertainment part of the fucking thing. Anyway, moving on, mid-grade THC flower, the mid-shelf gas. I won't go over this too long as it's quite similar to the previous one, but with slight differences. Mid-grade flower usually ranges between 10 to 20% THC with varying levels of CBD, which general rule of thumb is for medical use, go with the highest CBD percentage, and if you just want to get faded with your friends and play split screen Minecraft, get the one with the highest THC. Just make sure it still has some CBD in it so you don't, well, green the fuck out. Why I say that is because contrary to popular belief, CBD and THC do not bind to the same receptors in our brains, but through various studies and my own personal experience, CBD in most cases can reduce the adverse effects caused by THC, aka freaking out, feelings of discomfort, spikes in anxiety, etc. That's why even if you're an experienced stoner, it's good to have some CBD oil or flower that can help you if you're getting those unwanted side effects from some high percentage THC cannabis. So this type of weed lends itself higher in creativity and entertainment, but a bit lower in terms of its medical benefits. Moving on, high percentage THC flower, aka premium bud. This is the point where we start leaning much further away from the medical side into the entertainment and creativity side. High-end flower usually ranges between 20 to 35% THC, and unfortunately most of this top shelf flower is engineered to have very little or sometimes nearly zero CBD, which is why I said that this is the point where we really start deviating away from the term medical cannabis. But you might be asking, why can't I just get my flower with both high CBD and THC, you stupid Well, let me explain. Cannabis plants can naturally express high levels of either THC or CBD, but rarely both. This is because THC and CBD are derived from the same precursor, CBGA. The plant's genetics determine which enzyme, THC synthase or CBD synthase, is more active. In high THC strains, the THC synthase enzyme dominates, converting most CBGA into THC, leaving little room for CBD production. To add to it, cannabis growers have traditionally bred plants to maximize THC levels because of its psychoactive effects, which are highly sought after in recreational markets. Over time, this selective breeding reduced the expression of CBD in high THC strains, as the two cannabinoids tend to work in an inverse relationship. So it's also unfortunately us, the consumer's fault that super high THC and low CBD percentage is the baseline for top shelf gas these days. With brands constantly trying to compete with each other and providing the most mind-boggling high possible, there isn't really a lot of demand for high percentage CBD flower that still gets you very high. People buying weed for recreational use usually only care about the get you very high part. But I'm not saying that there is absolutely no place for this type of weed in the medical world, but it is extremely situational. The same way as inviting a friend out to have a couple drinks and watch the game on a Saturday night to alleviate the stress and anxiety from a hard week of work, this high THC flower can be a fun night to blow off steam and take your mind off real world problems for a while because, well, this shit could have you so obliterated you'll be using 100% of your brain power on figuring out how to tie your shoe, bruh. AKA, this is imagination land. I'm kinda going off personal experience on this, but the artists and musicians I know seem to enjoy this type of cannabis the most, as it can completely block off the real world and enter you into this trance state where you are 100% focused on whatever you are doing.
But Itscbdbro, doesn't that mean it helps with ADHD and anxiety?
In the moment it can, unless, well, you couldn't handle it and are instead rolled up in a ball on your couch focusing on defeating your demons. Anyway, multiple medical studies have shown that high concentration THC flower does not help against anxiety, depression, and ADHD at all. What it does instead is give you an escape from your ADHD, depression, or anxiety for a brief moment whilst under the influence, and even that doesn't come without a cost. As if you smoke too much of this high THC flower, or really any weed, you'll build up a dependency and in return feel even more distracted, have more anxiety, and increased levels of depression whilst not under the influence. AKA, if your friend claims to be smoking that top shelf Zaza for anything else than a fun time, he's either lying to you, himself, or he's just been smoking up for so long he doesn't even remember what it was like to be sober in the first place. So through everything we talked about, I'll have to place this type of cannabis right on the border of unhealthy and medical, with a very high level of creativity and entertainment. But now let's talk about our first non-farm to table cannabis, and that is hash, aka traditional concentrate. Hash, short for hashish, is one of the oldest cannabis concentrates made by collecting and compressing the trichomes, resin glands, of the cannabis plant. These trichomes contain the plant's cannabinoids and terpenes, making hash potent and flavorful. The potency varies heavily depending on the plant that was used to make it, but in general they can range anywhere between 20 to 60% THC. The biggest difference that me and other smokers I've talked to have noticed is that the high from hash, although quite strong, is usually shorter. And because this stuff is concentrated, 1 gram of hash will almost always get you higher than 1 gram of flower. The good thing about hash is, although it is concentrated cannabis, it is still natural. Traditional methods of making hash do not use any chemicals or solvents. Instead, they rely on mechanical processes like rubbing, sifting, or using ice water to extract the resin. Because of the wide variety of potency, it's quite hard to place this on our spectrum, but I'm going to put it just a bit closer to the medical side than the high potency flower flower, and a bit less to the creative side due to its shorter duration, which can make entering that trance state I talked about a bit hard. Other concentrates, 60 to 95% THC. Besides hash, there's like 10 different ways to get THC concentrate from the Zaza, some of which don't use solvents and some that do. If I were to go over every single one individually, this video would probably be like 30 minutes. And since there isn't really a huge difference in potency between them, I'll quickly summarize. Rosin, made by applying heat and pressure to cannabis flower, key for hash to extract resin. Live rosin, a solventless concentrate made from fresh frozen cannabis that's first turned into bubble hash and then pressed into rosin. Shatter or wax, extracted using butane or propane and then purged to remove residual solvents. Live resin, extracted from flash frozen cannabis using butane or propane, then purged. Diamonds, THC crystals. THC is crystallized using hydrocarbons and solvent-based processes. THC distillate, cannabinoids are extracted using solvents, aka ethanol or CO2, and then refined through distillation. Phew! And those are the most popular concentrates, which the most flavorful are usually live resin or rosin, as these retain the most terpenes. And the strongest concentrates are usually diamonds or THC distillate. But the reality is, unless you're like a super stoner, you probably won't be able to tell much of a difference between all of them, as every single concentrate is bound to get you absolutely bamboozled, unless you know, of course, you have an insane tolerance. The main takeaway from concentrated THC is that it builds up your Zaza tolerance very fast compared to regular bud because of its high potency and usually shorter duration, making you smoke up more often. Which is why I will be placing them closer to the unhealthy side, but also the entertainment side due to the mind-boggling high it gives. But now onto the strongest type of smokable weed there is, in my opinion, and that is infused flower, aka moonrock or sunrock, 50 to 80% THC. You might be asking yourself why infused flower is ranked higher than concentrates when the THC percentage is actually lower. Well, take it from me, as someone who has done both dabs, aka concentrate, and infused flower, the small difference in THC percentage really doesn't matter in this case. The reason for that is, unlike dabs or the Penjamin, which on average has a shorter duration than bud, infused flower gives you the insane kick of concentrate whilst also providing the longer effect of normal bud, which in my eyes makes this the most potent smokable weed on planet Earth, but feel free to have a war in the comments about it. I'll be reading every single one like oath. Placement on the spectrum will almost be the same as concentrate, but because you won't be smoking up as frequently and in return damaging your lungs a bit less, I'll put it just a bit closer to the medical side, but still definitely unhealthy. Now for the last type of Zaza that is in a league of its own, and that is of course, edibles. Infinite THC percentage. Why I rank Eddies as the strongest type of weed is quite simple. In the act of cooking cannabis, it turns into something different, something otherworldly, something psychedelic. If you watch some of my other videos, you'd know that I view super potent edibles as something entirely different than normal weed. I'd even go as far and compare them to mushrooms. And science has my back on this because when you digest THC in your liver, it turns into something far more potent, and return when you go to the cinema and watch Oppenheimer, you'll probably be overwhelmed and geek the fuck out. Well, and because you're not damaging your lungs in controlled doses, I'd say this is by far the healthiest way to consume cannabis, so far in medical, far in entertainment, but not so much creative, because you'll most likely be immobilized.
So yesterday I was packing myself a big ol' hit, as per usual, and thought to myself, man, I'm really hitting this out from this wacky silicone machine-crafted laboratory grade piece. Like, what happened to the Apple BONG, the can BONG, the good old spliff? And so today I'm coming at you with the 5 levels of smoking grass, and how your equipment to do so evolves, along with your mindset and shit. Starting with level 1, the noob. This the level where you still think the Za is some type of magical space unicorn shit, cause well, you've never done it, but your friends say it's crazy. So one day, you and the boys hear of a dude called Dragon selling grass in the school bathroom, so you band your money together and go acquire the grass. Once obtained and a safe area found, your friends are like, how are we gonna smoke this? Which, depending on where you're at, you're gonna end up either with a crappily handcrafted spliff or an aluminium can with holes in it. Whichever one you choose, you're gonna get faded in a hoe that night, and either fly with the happy space unicorns or get tortured by thoughts like, I hope my mom doesn't call me right now. Is this ever gonna wear off? Was 9/11 an inside job? And if your first experience was the latter, then you probably didn't advance to the next level, at least for a while. But if you had a fun old time and continued to smoke up with your buddies, at some point you'll find yourself at level 2. Why does she always make my throat burn? After a while of smoking the Za from spliffs or from some shitty Mountain Dew can, you finally think to yourself, maybe I should invest in something that makes it so my throat doesn't want to eat itself inside out every time I take a hit.
So you go online and buy the cheapest bong you can find. Excited to use your new acquired technology, you invite your friends over and get faded in a hoe yet again. But it's different this time. Because the bong doesn't destroy your throat as much, you can actually kinda take consecutive hits. So being the genius you are, you do that and ascend into Yodi land for the first time. After the ascension, you begin to wonder though, how high can a mortal man truly be? Which the answers to those questions are still a ways away, but after a quick Google search of how to get more high, you discover something called the gravity bong, and soon after go into level 3, the Zaza Man. Eager to try out your newfound powers of gravity control, you yet again invite your friends over and take a smack dabbly do off that thing. Which what follows is actually not as crazy as before, cause even though you all did get faded than a hoe, you also got sleepier than a hoe and got knocked out on the couch pretty fast. So you vow that the next time you use the powers of gravity, you'll drink an energy drink or something so you won't fall asleep like a baby. Even though it is pretty nice sleeping like a baby. Anyway, at this point, your friends are probably like, yeah, nah, that's a bit much. But because you're a crusader and haven't yet learned the lesson of moderation, you still want to get even more faded. So back to Google, and now you find yourself basically with two options, edibles or dabs. But because this is the 5 levels of smoking grass, let's just say you chose the dab pen. And shortly after, you move to level 4. The Fortnite cart. After the obtaining of the Penjamin, you test it out with your friends and you get faded in a hoe yet again. But the reality is your friends just want to smoke normal za cause the Penjamin kicks too hard for them. But you still haven't learned moderation, so you call them wackos and waddle your way to Penjamin City alone. While at Penjamin City, you're like, more high, must get more high. And there's only one more item to fill your never-ending quench for tolerance destruction, and that is level 5. Bro, what the fuck? You got a damn science station here with dab rigs? They're, well, unnecessary as a way to put it. I mean, bro, you know she has gone too far when you gotta look at the instructions on how to get high. Plus, your friends don't even really want to try it out anymore and urge you to go on a tea break, which, after realizing that all your money has been going to your need to get higher and higher, you're kind of forced into one, which, after, hopefully you'll move on to final level. Ascend it. Finally, you realize smoking za isn't just about getting as high as possible, because every situation has its own limits of fadedness. So if you're just going out on a night out with your homies, best thing to do is to smoke a spliff. If you don't want to get faded in a hoe though at home, do the gravity, and so on. The true power you have over all the other levels though is you've already gone through all of them, knowing that you can manage your tolerance correctly and smoke up with the appropriate tools for the appropriate situations. I love the magic green plant, but sometimes I be just chilling, minding my own damn business, and then all of a sudden, bang! The Zaza decides to make something as simple as my toe hurts a little bit into holy shit, I have toe cancer and I'm going to die. But something you guys might not know is that there are levels to greening out, as not all green jelly bean attacks are with the same ferocity as Mike Tyson's uppercut. Sometimes it can be just a small jab that knocks you down, so let's start out with the Jake Paul special. Level 1. Whatever. This is the initial level where you start to suspect that something could be wrong. You might have dove deeper into a bad thought than you would usually, or you find yourself thinking about a subject outside the one being discussed quite intensely. This is the level where if you act according to the Itscbdbro code of not being a dum-dum and just stop yourself from diving deeper, it can quite easily be stopped with just a change of scenery or switching concentration from your thoughts into the activity at hand. That being a video game, chatting with friends, a TV show, etc. But if for some reason you forget to actively stop it, well, you're gonna move on to level 2. Okay, stay calm. So you didn't stop the mighty green out when you had the chance. Well, now you've dug yourself much deeper and it's gonna be a lot harder to come out of it, although still not impossible. At this point, if you're with a group of friends, you are only replying to them because that's what you would normally do, but in your head, you are fighting demons. Not the devil himself yet, but it's still quite the battle. Yet at this level, you are still able to keep your composure and haven't ruined the group's vibe by being like, holy shit guys, I'm freaking out, I need to go home. Cause you know, if you were in their shoes, that would totally kill the vibe. But if you don't manage to crawl out of this hole, you will go straight to level 3. Game over, man. Game over. Well, at this point, it's game over, man. It's impossible to pull yourself out. Well, Not impossible, but highly improbable. If you're with a group of friends, this is the point where you just can't take it anymore and you change the group's vibe from fun to emergency mode. But if you are unlucky enough to be with a group of people you are not really that close with, well, this would be the time to just kinda walk out of there, cause you just can't function in a situation like that anymore. Every sentence you think about forming, the voice in your head will go, "You sure these guys are gonna find that funny? What if they don't? What if they find it offensive? What if they f***ing kill you for it?" So yeah, at this point, shit is too extreme to handle in a situation like that. But it gets even worse at level 4. Freak out. You're screwed. If you're in a social situation, this is the last chance to put on your big boy pants and just dash out of there. But at this point, even that's kinda scary, cause every damn object looks like a demon, and every stranger with a hint of blue is a cop. Your brain cannot handle thoughts anymore, so just switch that shit to autopilot and start walking. Even though you know that the police aren't probably gonna get you, it doesn't matter, because you are convinced if they don't get you, the devil himself will pop out and bring you to hell with him. Although this is complete paranoia mode, if you are alone in your room or with a group of close people in emergency mode, you'll be okay, just barely. But you need to hope and pray that you'll start coming down soon, cause if not, well, level 5. I am going to die. Like, no kidding, I'm going to die 100%. The last and final level. At this point, you were 100% screwed. There is no pulling out anymore. All you can do is wait for your high to dissipate and just crawl up in a ball until then. You have convinced yourself that whatever it may be that started all this is the actual end of the world. Like no cap, sometimes the Zaza just doesn't like you and convinces you that the end is coming. No amount of persuasion and calming down from your friends will help you now. So they probably just left you in the corner while they went to enjoy the high. Only thing you can do is drink water and run around to sweat the THC from your system. And if you're lucky, you might make it back to Yodiland before the day is over. Until then, it's the trenches for you. The first high, a core memory, and whether you enjoyed it or not doesn't really matter, cause for 95% of people, their first time literally shapes their entire opinion on the grass. Almost everybody who isn't age 50 or over and says, "Weed is the work of the devil, it should be more illegal than even meth." Well, actually it is. The ZA is Schedule 1 and meth is Schedule 2, so... Yeah, that's right. That's why I love America. Greatest damn country in the world.
USA! USA! USA!
Anyway, what I was saying was that most people who tweak their first time are put off by it for a while and shape into ZA haters, and people who have fun their first time, believe it or not, don't all become mindless junkies who eat Little Caesars and watch SpongeBob all day. Rather, when asked their opinion on weed, they'll probably just say,
"My stomach turned into an endless void with an unquenchable hunger for anything edible, which was followed by a sleepiness so uncontrollable I passed out halfway into my 25th Twinkie." It was pretty fun.
So obviously me, Itscbdbro, who runs an entire YouTube channel dedicated to the green plant, must have had the latter experience, right? Well, not really. As you see, when I was but a wee lad, uncontaminated by the forbidden fruits of the world like alcohol, nicotine, and yes, weed, always believed that alcohol makes you homeless, nicotine makes you a little bitch, and weed makes you lazy. Thinking that, I didn't want to waste not just my first high, but my very first time feeling anything besides normal on eating Doritos and watching Family Guy. Which, after turning 17, I decided it was about time I lost my substance virginity and planned to do so on Christmas dinner, where I was gonna let El Marijuana put its big, fat, thick, juicy, delicately rolled J in my mouth, but only after I had eaten, as I believed if my tummy was full, I wouldn't get the munchies, and could instead contemplate the meaning of life my time high. And thankfully, I had an older brother who was more than willing to give me a puff or two from his Christmas dinner J for $4, the fucking cheapskate. So we went upstairs and started puffing, which Rezex was instantly bamboozled from the magic grass. Nice, it's not a dud. Now it's my turn. I grabbed the J and puffed until I could puff no more. And the result was, I didn't feel a damn thing. Still had to pay the $4 though. Fucking bullshit. Anyway, as we went through the day, I got increasingly more jealous of my brother, who by his words was fried AF. I was beginning to think maybe I'm immune to getting high, which after telling my brother this theory, he concluded that I'm stupid and just didn't inhale the za in my lungs, and so generously told me to follow him upstairs where he gave me a couple more puffs for an extra $4, the damn venture capitalist. As I was smoking away, keeping in mind to inhale it all the way down to my lungs, I still wasn't feeling anything, and my hopes of getting fried AF were beginning to look more like a distant dream. When I finished puffing, I sat down at the computer to look at some of those watch while high videos, and my brother asked me, "So, you feel anything now?" No, I don't. What's this weird? I'm not sure. I don't know. Seems to me you're fried like some Kentucky chicken, boy. I was indeed fried, and incredibly so. Although I didn't smoke a ton, my body had never experienced anything besides a sugar rush and maybe a caffeine kick. So as I was watching this watch while you're high video, I was laughing at everything and was tripping the fuck out. But not in a bad way, it was freaking amazing. Being high was what I always imagined it to be until... bloop. I'm sober again. Yeah, you heard right. My first high lasted like 30 seconds, and in an instant, I was back to normal, which I don't know why. Even to this day, when I tell people about this, nobody can relate because no one has experienced this phenomenon. But since I'm a scientist, I have developed a super duper concrete theory backed by quantum mechanics and the late great Stephen Hawking on my experience, and overall the reason why a lot of people who smoke their first time don't feel anything. I theorize that all humans have a natural block against foreign substances, a wall per se, and when an individual inhales za, the particles act kind of like micromissiles targeting your cannabinoid receptors. For the people whose defensive wall is strong enough, it will stop all perpetrators attempting to infiltrate your brain. But this wall isn't regeneratable, so if the micromissiles fail to get you fried at first, the next time they'll have an easier time against your already damaged wall of defense. Now, I bet you're thinking to yourself, this mofo been smoking too much of that Einstein pack. And to you, I say maybe, but also I have practical proof of this theory. I used to be a pro baller, and one day me and a couple hooper friends who all have great immune systems and therefore probably good za defensive walls decided to smoke up, and to my buddies, it was their first time. Once we lit the J and passed it around, I made sure to tell everybody to inhale the smoke in their lungs, which I'm pretty sure they all did, but still, I was the only one who got high, cause it wasn't my first time. But when I smoked up with some of my non-athlete first-timer friends, they all got high like normal. So, conclusion, defensive za wall is a real thing and I stand by my theory. Anyway, although that was my first time feeling high, I wouldn't call it my first high because it only lasted for half a minute. My first real high experience was something even more memorable and etched to my brain until I die. A couple weeks after the last incident, me and Rizx decided it was about damn time I actually felt the true loving touch of the Mary Jane. And this time, instead of having only scraps of za, we bought a whole gram to hopefully destroy my highly speculative za wall. I think it's real. Also, at this time, we were obsessed with freestyle rapping, so we decided the plan of action was to smoke up, eat candy, and rap battle to copyright-free beats while recording it so we could listen to our unreleased tracks in the morning. Since our parents were away for the night, we got the whole apartment to ourselves and planned on rolling 2 J's, both containing 0.5 G's. Since we were petrified at the thought of getting caught blazing, instead of being sensible and smoking the J's near a window and just blowing the smoke out, we put our jackets on and walked 500 feet away from the apartment to light up, just to be sure that there wouldn't even be a microfiber of evidence that we were smoking the devil's lettuce. As we were consuming the J, all I could hope for was that this time I wouldn't just get a limited free trial, but the actual full version. But alas, when we finished puffing the J, I again felt nothing, or at least that's what I thought, cause as we arrived back home, I finally realized that, so you feeling it? Yeah, kinda. Sometimes the high hits you a couple minutes later, especially if you're going from outdoors to indoors as we did. And my highly accepted theory in the science community about this phenomenon is that through evolution, we have always considered indoors to be our safe zone and outdoors dangerous. Therefore, when you're outside, your brain doesn't allow the full faded and relaxed effect to take over, probably in anticipation of a roadman coming and chefing you up with the mandem. Okay, this one I'm not so confident in, and I have to come clean. I am in no shape or form associated with the science community. yet. Anyway, now that we were high and in the living room, we started putting on some beats and freestyling, and to this day, I have yet to replicate the skill and precision of my flow that high. It's hard to explain, but nowadays, I can't rap for shit. I mean, I'll spit one line and be like, yo, I've been getting money making racks, cause you know I flip them packs. That's facts. Yeah, that's it. Basically, I run out of rhymes pretty fast, but that day, I did not. In fact, even when my brain had nothing to say, my mouth rapped it for me. I turned into a freestyling robot and became dead sure that I was gonna make it out by dropping a mixtape and becoming a famous rapper. Until we listened to the recording in the morning and realized, yo, flowing on the go, your girl she a hoe, making money dancing with a pole, my girl making dough while doing lines of blow, cause we in the penthouse, baby, living life, and that's for show. Yeah, I'll try YouTube instead. What's crazy though is that after that, I was never able to replicate the auto-rapping again, so my rap career never flowered, but who knows, maybe I'll try to convert this channel into lyric videos and shitposting, all while steadily alienating my audience and killing my channel. Or maybe I should just make a separate channel for that? 10,000 BC, a group of cavemen in the Oki Islands of Japan needed some warmth and wanted to start a fire when they discovered a funny looking green plant, and either out of curiosity or desperation took it and inadvertently created history's first ever hotbox. Yet this early grass was not that loud that people be smoking today, because as we know, over the years the za has been scientifically and artificially cultivated to be much more concentrated in the high it gives. So although it is funny to think about a group of cavemen purposely starting a fire in a small shelter for the sole purpose of getting faded in a hoe, it is unlikely that it actually ever happened. Yet aside from this iffy recreational stint in Japan, hemp was first commonly used in the lands that are modern day Mongolia and China for more practical uses like eating it. Which, after saying that, you might be imagining something like this. Yo, what's up? How you doing? Had any fun with those new seeds I gave you?
Yo, nah, I actually came here to give them back. Last night I was looking at the moon and I swear that motherfucker was looking right back at me.
But alas, this probably wasn't the reality because the THC levels in this early cultivated Zaza were just really low, but soon the Chinese would discover that the holy plant's fibers were also great for making stuff too, like clothes, paper, and bowstrings. Which turns out hemp fibers were superior to the bamboo ones used by rivaling factions, allowing the Chinese to shoot their arrows much further. So basically, back in the day, if you were having a long distance bow battle and were losing, you might have screamed out, "We need to get closer! These motherfuckers have weed!" Anyway, it wasn't long after when mofos realized that the loud wasn't only good for making stuff, it was also great for treating physical maladies. And after a couple thousand years, Emperor Shen Nung, known as the father of Chinese medicine, included the magic plant in his medical encyclopedia under the name Ma. Which, that sounds oddly similar to Za, doesn't it? I'm guessing every couple thousand years the first letter changes or something. But now, let's explore the question we're all asking. When exactly did mofos start ripping that shit to get faded? Well, one of the earliest counts is about 2,500 years ago, when researchers discovered 10 mini barbecues in a cemetery near modern-day Tajikistan that had residue of burnt cannabis with a much higher concentration of THC than normal, probably meaning it was selectively bred to get you, well, lit. Although this was one of the first counts of people purposely inhaling the broccoli to get high, it was most likely used as part of a ritual to invoke an altered state of mind, so you could communicate with spirits. Which shit, dog, I wanna know what these dudes were smoking, cause I ain't never heard of no grass that gets you to the spirit realm. This might have low-key been the last kush Snoop Dogg smoked, cause once you get so high you start communicating with your dead gran-gran, that's when you really might be like, okay, I think it's about time I stop smoking this shit. Since cannabis, for one reason or another, proved to be quite the useful plant, people started trading it around the world as soon as it was domesticated. Which the only people who didn't really fuck with the Zaza were Europeans, who preferred getting hammered instead. Which is low-key reflected in modern times too, especially in the northern countries where once you turn 18, you can drink as much poison as you want, but if you want to blaze, well, you might be looking at a little bit of jail time, my boy. But now, let's quickly go over the uses of cannabis throughout different cultures so we can move on to the modern age, starting with Hindus. They made something called bang, an edible cannabis paste that had medicinal properties but also got you high. This could be added to a variety of foods and drinks, which this bang was the preferred food of the Hindu god Shiva, making him in my eyes the god of edibles.
Disclaimer, that was a joke.
Islam. Here the za was called hashish and was introduced about 1,000 years ago, which hashish wasn't strictly forbidden in the Quran at first, so a lot of Muslims ate it for its medicinal and relaxation properties. But later, Egypt basically banned it, and also the Quran was revisited by many and reinterpreted to include hashish to be banned just like alcohol. The Vikings. These dudes basically used the za to make rope, sailcloth, and other things, but also for its medicinal properties, mostly to relieve pain, and to date there's no hard evidence that they consumed it for its recreational use, but you know, maybe they should have, because they were quite the horrendous savages and murderers, so it might have made them think a little bit about peace and love. But what about America, England, and the actual global world powers? How did they react to weed? Well, again, like the Chinese, Europeans and Americans at first prominently used the magic green plant in the 16th to 18th century for more practical things like making sailcloth and rope, which the plant itself grew much larger in the New World soil, and combined with the practicality of it, everything started being hemp-derived. Clothes, paper, well, basically anything that required fibers. But the question still remains, when did mofos start smoking that shit to get blasted on the regular? Cause although at some point you, your neighbor, your grandma, your boss, and even George Washington were out here growing weed, wasn't nobody out here rolling them up. Well, until the arrival of Mexicans. The loud version of hemp first arrived in Brazil in the early 1500s by way of enslaved Africans traveling with the Portuguese. And the native South Americans, who are already consuming some other psychoactive substances, quickly started blazing the Zaza too, and its use soon spread across South America and into Mexico, from which in the 1910s is when the loud first spread into the US, via Mexican immigrants escaping the effects of the Mexican Revolution. And almost immediately the good was viewed as a threat, and by 1931, 29 states had banned its use. Although it wasn't really the Zaza that the US didn't fall with, it was unfortunately mostly just racism against Mexican Americans and black citizens of the South, which both these groups were enjoyers of the za to some regard, so it became a scapegoat for racial bias in the US, and they blamed it for everything from petty crimes all the way to murder. And in 1937, the US completely banned all non-medical use of weed, which all of this kind of explains why the mostly peaceful plant has been thrown in the same Schedule 1 category with full-on life-destroying substances like heroin and cocaine. But thankfully, a couple decades later came the hippie movement of the 1960s to 1970s. This is what likely sparked the comeback for weed, cause unlike before, when the Zaza was mostly smoked by Mexican immigrants and black citizens who the US was massively racist against, the hippie movement had middle-class white American youth start blazing too. Which it was all about love, peace, spirituality, non-violence, and of course, every hippie's favorite, recreational drug use. Although most hippies were all about peace and love, that was quite easy to say when most of them were literally privileged enough to drop out of college, run off with Cassandra in a rainbow van, go on copious amounts of mindset-altering trips, mostly powered by LSD, and then return 10 years later to their parents and have them say,
It's okay, son. I was young and stupid once too.
Anyway, although the grass was still federally illegal, this didn't really do much, cause in 1976, 1 in 8 Americans over the age of 12 admitted to smoking it in the past 30 days. Hippies though were especially interested in cannabis, so much so they went on something called the Hippie Trail, which was basically an excursion by the youths of the world to go over to the Middle East and India, all while riding in magic buses and discovering new ways to get absolutely blasted, such as smoking the concentrated Zaza resin known as hash. But acquiring the Zaza would soon get much harder, because you see, most of it came from Mexico, so in 1969 the US started patrolling the border, and in 1975 they got even more aggressive and started spraying herbicide on Mexican weed plants. And so good old supply and demand made grass prices skyrocket, which a lot of people started then growing the plant themselves in mini greenhouses, closets, bathtubs, storage units, basements, wherever they could. But then in 1982, Mr. Smarty Pants Ronald Reagan took it even a step further by encouraging the streamlined arrest of anyone in possession of an illegal substance, which was really dumb because most of the focus was on pot, all while crack, meth, and heroin were all still being transported and consumed on a regular basis. Even worse, this enforcement seemed to be racially motivated because despite plenty of traffickers and consumers being white, the majority of arrests were Latino and black youths, all while this bizarre over-focus on cannabis allowed the growing opioid epidemic to go unchecked. But thankfully, the US is slowly learning from their mistakes, where today 24 states have legalized the recreational use of marijuana. On top of that, the increased level of research on it has also found multiple medical use cases and can be prescribed to you by special doctors if seen fit. And although the Zaza is still federally illegal and a Schedule 1 drug, the overall perception of it has changed for the better, including in December 2022 when President Biden signed a bill to make it easier for researchers to obtain plants for their studies, which will hopefully accelerate the learning of positive and negative side effects of consuming the ZA even further. But all that aside, the overall vibe towards the loud has gotten a lot more accepting, and these days more and more people view the smoking of the grass not as you being a junkie, but the same way as having a couple beers with the homies on a Friday night and watching some WWE.